Welcome back. Man, it's been a while. It's been more than a minute. It's probably been like 5 minutes. It feels like it's a really long time. You know, we haven't, well, you've took a couple here and there, but as a collective, as this channel, we haven't missed a broadcast. Like this Christmas broadcast. I put a repost because we didn't have one. I took a break. Like, that's literally the first time in almost 4 years. And it felt really, really weird.
Well, you have St. Nick to thank for that.
Well, I mean, it was a choice. I could have forced it. But I was like, everybody's taking a break. And I usually just push it anyway. But it's like, yeah, why not? And it really sucked. I actually feel more drained now. Like, I was hanging out with a colleague a little bit this week, and I wasn't optimal. Like, I really focus on efficiency. As weird as it sounds, maybe I sound like AI. I don't know what it is, but I do. I'm really cognate. I'm self-aware of the things that I'm doing and how I'm trying to allocate my life and my mental state. I'm always trying to make more efficiency on my mental state. And, man, I was absolutely unoptimal. I'm still dragging along a little bit. I'm feeling better. Like, I got back into the lab, and I was preparing for not this week. This week, you guys will enjoy it, 186. It's called the New Year Nostalgia. This is a good time hanging out with the guys, remembering 2025. And we know, and the reason why I didn't put too much emphasis, I already know it's New Year's. People are still coming back. People still finding themselves in people's front yards. People finding condoms inside themselves. All that stuff. So I already know this ain't the episode that you need to put some meat on the table. But next week, I was preparing some for next week and things like that. And I was like, this is what it is. Like, I need that mental stimulation. I need that consistent rigor, that hard, rigorous mental stimulation. It's just weird just to feel stagnant, just sitting around. It's like, it's just walking around aimlessly. I don't know. It's weird.
You can't spell rigor mortis without rigor.
Yeah. Well, we need that. We need that. I don't know. I mean, some people, maybe they don't. We need that rigidness where it's like it's strong, it's stern, it's systematic. And I'm an experimental person, so I like new variety of things, but I have to add them I have to compartmentalize everything still, even though I like experiments. But anyways, it doesn't need here nor there. Who cares?
Did you get everything you wanted for Christmas?
This is the mind of the Matrix, right? But, yeah, I enjoyed it all. I enjoyed hanging out with people, and that was all great. Hopefully you guys did too. Hopefully you guys' Christmas and your New Year's was great. Today's New Year's, so Happy New Year. But I don't know. I just didn't really – breaks aren't for me. That's what I really realized. Like, I literally haven't took a break on this show for 4 years. Breaks are not for me. I need that consistent thing because eventually it just makes me feel like I'm drifting off into Wonderland. And, I love philosophy probably more than most, but I don't think we can do what the ancient Greeks did. Like, those people, they were philosophers, but they also had to still work a lot, gathering, harvesting, all that. In 2026, unless you're out there like Amish or really working the land, nobody's out there harvesting anything. Like, you can literally go to Walmart and get anything.
Well, people are just out there looking for a bust. But the Greeks actually had the busts.
Oh, yeah. My great or grandpa, he had a bust.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah. I can't remember of who, but one of them. But he was into philosophy too. But anyways, it's neither here nor there. I appreciate you guys tuning in for this New Year's live. I'm sure it's going to be a little slow. Like I said, people are still waking up in people's front yards. I mean, this literally is New Year's. Mm-hmm. So last night was a gangbang buster.
Yeah, gang.
Yeah, so they're probably still just waking up. So I don't expect too many people to be here today. But I'm glad I'm here because this is helping my structure and reestablishing all of this stuff. So I don't know. And again, I'm not telling you to follow my footsteps. I just know I tried it. I tasted of the fruit and I didn't like it. It's not for me. I need to keep being busy. I can't have this stagnicity too long. And that was literally, just a week? That was it. And it just felt off. So, but welcome.
Well, maybe it felt off, but maybe it was actually on. Like maybe you actually did rest. Like sometimes you're really sore after a workout, but that doesn't mean your body's not resting.
My brain is just foggy. My body feels sluggish. And I wasn't out there living it up. I was trying to just rest because I was like, if I'm going to take this break, let me just rest.
No, you're not 25 anymore, Toto.
Well, I mean, I didn't read anything. Literally, I didn't. And that was really weird. I didn't read anything. I didn't look up no articles. I didn't do anything. I was literally just saying, let's just rest. And man, it was not optimal for me.
You didn't even read the room?
No, I was just doing a lot of thinking, contemplating, but anyways, I'm back. I feel good. I'm back in the lab.
Well, it's good to have you back, Agent K.
Thank you. And next week, you guys are going to fill it. I'm going to dump
on Agent Orange.
I'm going to empty the load.
Yeah, that's what I said, Agent Orange. It
can be Agent Orange. It can be, huffing, puffing stuff.
Well, what you're trying to get at, though, is you're actually going to empty your clip.
Yeah, I'm going to unload it all. Yeah, the full,
the banana clip. One
bullet at a time. Yeah, because you can't do everything. It's too much.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yeah, we're about to get snub-nosed.
Yeah. I already know, colleague. He's putting on this mask, but the truth is going to shine through him.
It always does.
Yeah, he's got this thing. He's ready to unload, but
I'm bursting at the seams right now.
Yeah, I know. I can feel it.
I'm like an old wineskin.
Oh, wow, it's like old foreskin. Yeah. Well, anyways. I have to go release something in the underpits of our toilet scheme.
You got to go use the little boy's room.
Yeah, but I'll be right back, and a colleague will entertain you till I get back.
I don't know if I could do that. Well, it looked like Satan walked by. Looks like Ted is here. Happy New Fear. Yeah, that's a good one. Happy New Year. YouTube bot is here. Hello and Happy New Year to you too. King James is here. Ted says you guys were missed, but a well-deserved break. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I usually work on the holidays. It's where most of the money is. But this holiday, I feel like my heart grew 3 times its size. So I went from like a 4-inch heart all the way to like an 8-inch. Like I'm talking, my heart is massive now, and it all happened in one day. I'm telling you, well, you just have to see it to believe it. And unfortunately, I can't show you on national television. I'd have to uncover myself, but you'll just have to believe me. I have an above average sized heart now.
You also have above average sized IQ.
Yeah, but I don't like to brag. I don't like to blow on my own horn either.
What's bragging when it's true? Somebody was saying something about narcissism. But is it really narcissism if it's true?
Well, that's why I always think the same thing about cockiness. Like, that's really the difference between cockiness and confidence, is one has it and one doesn't. So cockiness is just, empty conceit.
It's like a copy.
Yeah, they're faking. Like, I know all this, or I can bench, 400 or whatever. But if it's confident, if they actually can bench 400,
right? It's
actually confident.
Well, that's what I was saying. Somebody was saying about narcissism. It's one of these forums I was like, well, is it really narcissism if it's true? And I was asking more in a philosophical sense, not like just random speaking, because it's like narcissism usually is coined out when it's saying, well, you're just self-induced. You're over pompous.
Like self-induced labor.
You're over pompous and all of those things. But, if it's true, like.
Which it is.
Well, I'm saying somebody that's successful. Let's say like a rich, prominent CEO. He came from nothing. He literally started foundationally. He built up this company. He has this idea that I've done something great. And then he has something to prove that he's done something great. And then he believes that he's great. Now, that sounds narcissistic. But is it narcissistic if it's true? Or is narcissism just a way for people to say, I don't like that you're trying to be over me. I don't like that you're propagating this idea that you're greater than me.
Well, it's tough because the opposite of actually knowing who you are and being confident, the opposite of that is imposter syndrome.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's a frowned upon thing. Like everybody's like,
excuse those who are listening with iPods, earpods, earbuds.
All these people are like, you guys imposter syndrome is bad. It's like, well, if I actually own who I am, then I look cocky or confidence or any other C word. And it doesn't matter.
The carrot
before the horse, yeah.
Behind the cart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but what Guston always gets a bad rap on
behind a donkey.
No, was it Belle and the Beast? Belle and the Dragon.
Belle and the Dragon.
What an interesting parallel. Beauty and the Beast. That's what it was. They should have called it Belle and the Beast. That would have been a lot more familiar. Beauty and the Beast. Guston gets this bad rap, and he's just confident. Like the guy can obviously bench 400 pounds.
Oh yeah,
he can do a lot. There's really no one like Guston.
So can that Beast, man. That Joker's built.
Well, yeah, but that's easy because he's got those animal instincts and the lizard brain and all that. But Guston, he's just a mere man, and he can do all this stuff. He was picking up women's benches with them on it, like with each arm. There's no telling what that guy couldn't do, Guston. But everybody sees him as cocky. And I think that's the other thing, too. I think women have a lot to say in this. For the women in our who are viewers, they might be able to help us out with that. Like, how does a man go from being cocky to confident or vice versa? Where is the line?
Maybe narcissism is when you overproject your confidence. Like, when you test, like somebody who's ever been in a fight, like a real fight, like fist-to-fist fight, it's something different than you're just a big man, but you've never fought. So you have this idea, I could whoop anybody, but you've never been in a fight. And maybe that's the epitome of narcissism. Like there's this allure to the idea that I can see. You have this idea about yourself, but you don't really know anything what you're talking about. And then there's those people who are martial artists. They like to paint all over the dojo. And you can tell. Like those people, they're ready to fight. And so maybe that's just the difference. But what if these dojo people, like a good example, like some of these Marines, they come back, and sometimes it sounds like they're cocky. Like, if you come around here, I'll wipe you out 5 seconds. In their mind, I've done it before. I could do it. But people would say, oh, that sounds narcissistic. But it's like, but that's true. They literally could do it. But because he said it, oh, that's narcissism. I don't know. Maybe it's just that projection that you are trying to assert I'm better than you, even though it's true. But because you're asserting I'm better than you, people just say, oh, that's narcissism. But it seems like maybe it's just a means to say, I don't like feeling like somebody's better than me.
Some of the wrestlers who would, they would throw insults at each other. Like, is this cockiness or confidence? Like one of them would be like, I'm going to beat you off. And, and the other one says like, I'm going to swallow you whole. And I struggle to figure out.
I'm going to destroy you.
Yeah, stuff like that. It's like, I'm going to rip you wide open. You know,
I'm gonna rip you
say,
a new one.
Yeah, they say all kinds of things like that. Like, you won't be able to handle me. It's like, wow. You know, and to me, it feels like that's cockiness. But that's just me. Because then they get smeared all over the table.
That just feels like theatrics.
Could be.
Yes.
Could be. But
anyways, it was an interesting conversation in these forums. You know, one day I think I'm going to put some of these forums online. And we can just have this conversation watching
wrestler forums, or what do you mean?
No, these forums I go to, they're interesting. Like, some of them are philosophical, some of them are more technical, but I enjoy these philosophical forums because it can go from 0 to 100 to something abstract, but they're very thought provoking. But yeah, maybe I'll put it on here on this little screen here, and you can watch it live. But yeah, I think it's just interesting. The reason why I brought that up is there are these things that we are pushed out to believe. And then there are things that we know about ourselves. And there's always the media that wants you. And that's what's so weird. Like, the media has this construct. This is how you're supposed to be. This is what we want you to be. Like, look at these Victoria's Secret models. Women, that's what you need to be. Or look at these rich billionaires, or these really, macho, massive men. Men, that's how you're supposed to be. And then they sell you products. And so they sell you beauty products, they sell you lingerie, they sell you all that. And over here, they sell you like creatine, whey protein, mass builder, whatever. But the idea is, they don't really care what you are, but they need to project in your brain, this is what you're supposed to be. And then we're going to sell you products. But then they do the opposite side so they can monetize the other side, which is, but now you're narcissistic, or now you're anorexic. You have a mental disorder. So now you need to take some prescriptions. Now you need to go to therapy. Now you need a psychiatrist. And now the circle loops. So now you refrain from all that so you can get back into mental health. But then they show you these products again. And they show you these pictures again. And so there's this endless loop of, I need to be like this. Oh, I can't be like this. I need to be like this. And it's an endless loop of recycling more consumer products. And at the end, nobody knows what they are. You're demonized if you try to pursue what's being projected. And then when you do self-reflection, they think you're pompous and arrogant because you start figuring out, maybe I need to have a better version of myself. But then they say you're too sensitive.
But at least we can see that America has definitely, like the elites who run America, have come a long way. Because in their infancy, which we saw, I think, a couple weeks ago, last time we were on live, we saw how they just, was it the national anthem, and how the words would change, and it would say consume, obey, right. Don't question, and all this stuff. Now, they don't need to do all that stuff. So they saw that was inefficient. Now what they need to do is like what you're saying. There's better ways to sell us products to get us to consume and obey. So it is interesting just to see the evolution of the elites' thinking patterns. Like, they were human at one point in time. They were like us. Now they're unstoppable, but they were at one point stoppable. Like, we probably could have done something in that era when they were still learning things too. But now, yeah, how are you going to compete with them?
Yeah, and then you have the next evolution of it, which are these artificial ideas of consciousness and entities and bodies and transhumanism, and that's a whole nother level. Yeah,
the elites, if whoever's running the show, whoever's running it is using AI. Either it's AI or elites are using AI. We're not going to be able to compete with that. But yeah, back then you could definitely tell they didn't have AI because they would have known better. Like, someone's going to find out that we're putting subliminal messaging in this stuff. And not only that, it's not working as well. Like, it maybe worked a little bit, but not as much as whatever they're doing nowadays, because they're not doing it nowadays, which means they've changed for the better.
Right.
For their better.
Like, now you can actually, if you're just pause and you're self-aware just a tad, you can see it's a perfect circle. See, back in the day, you could tell, you're right, because back in the day, they're testing. They're seeing, that didn't work. Let's chop that. Let's try this. Mm-hmm. But MK now,
Ultra stuff,
right?
Like, but they did it for a season, but then they were done.
Now they figured it out, and now it's a circle, and you can see it's a consistent circle. And so whatever they figured out, it works really good. And social media really helps amplify. I guess that's a better word. It doesn't solidify. It's already been solidified. But social media amplifies because that dopamine hits so fast. Like it speeds up that process. And you get tunnel vision. And that's why they call it doom scrolling. It's literally you can't stop. And so it's a perfect circle.
Yeah.
Well, so whatever they figured out, hopefully you guys are aware of all that.
I'm sure they are. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess that's a good point. But
this is like a net of sorts, and we're catching all the
catching the strays.
Yeah, we're catching strays.
Mm. Well, what's the chat say about all this?
Ted B says structure versus chaos. That was earlier, and they said most Greek philosophers were slackers and didn't have jobs. They depended on their family, wealth, or charity. You know, I haven't looked at the occupation, like how philosophers were getting paid, but I wouldn't doubt it. So if that's true, that makes sense. Because if you think about it, the people who have time to think aren't really the people flipping burgers. They're not the people swinging hammers usually. Because those people are focused on their tasks so they can get it done. They need to clock out and go home, and then they're exhausted. They're too tired to think. Like people who are working farms aren't usually philosophers. Except for that one guy with the highest IQ, but he wasn't. I don't think he was born as a farmer. He actually went out to be a farmer. He just disconnected from the world, I think.
Yeah, Chris. I think his name's Chris Langson or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The guy looks like a firefighter.
Anyway, I don't even want to go into all that.
Yeah, but so it just shows though, like that itself is a microcosm scale of how when life is good, we have time to think. So technically, if this is a first world country, we should be able to think a lot. And why people aren't is unfortunate. And maybe that's the other thing. Like you have to have a balance between. You have to have a little bit of push, otherwise nobody's thinking about anything. So you have to have a little bit of pain, or you're just gonna sit around and play Xbox all day.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. We replay. So you see the microcosm of our civilizations. If you have to work all day to eat, you don't grow. Technology doesn't grow. Like people grow. Of course, population grows, but you don't see new advancements. Like they're not building new carriages, new wheels, new technology, because you're working all day. So as soon as civilization got overplenished, now people could start creating these hierarchies. And these class systems, regardless if we like it or not, is what allowed certain groups, so back in the Greek times, you can call them the aristocrats or whoever, they had more time to not be harvesting. And so naturally,
oligarchy.
Yeah, they're going to be out there. They're the ones that are thinking. Now, of course, they are the more obscure philosophers. Yeah, of course, they bear it on charity. But then, people like Plato would say, but who should be running this government? It's the aristocrats. Because what good is a blacksmith running our country? He's good at blacksmith. He's good at making this iron product. And he needs to focus on that. If he's over here trying to run the country, that's an injustice. It's gonna fail. And so who should be running the country? In his mind, it's the aristocrats. Regardless if you agree or not, the only reason they can even come to that is because there's a time of plenty. But how do you, if you're now an advanced government and you don't want people to think, you have all this time. If you don't occupy this time, what are you going to create? A bunch of philosophers, a bunch of thinkers, and they're going to be critical. So what you got to do is all this free time, you need to replace it. So what first came? Books are horrible for that. Like, that's going to make you think more. Here comes the radio. Then here comes the television. Then here comes the internet. Then here comes social. So now you're consumed. You're not reading. You're being force-fed. The radio's telling you something. TV's telling you, like the progress from the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 80s. And eventually, now you're force-fed information instead of reading a book, contemplating, because you have all this time. You're not force-fed. You will believe this. You can actually think for yourself. They need to fix all that. We have too much freedom. Like, you literally go to Walmart. You don't need to gather food. You don't need to do nothing. So they replaced it with hyper-consumption. And now we're at this point where consumption is so easy. Literally open your phone, you can get anything. You want to look at porn? You can. You want to look at doom-scrolling brain rot? You can.
I want to look at corn.
Yeah, you want to watch people just eat corn all day?
No, just corn.
Well, yeah, you can go to Walmart and get you cobs of corn if that's what you're into.
No, I just want to look at it on my phone.
Yeah, you can. There's plenty of images of corn. That's what I'm saying. It's like
pornographic.
Yeah, there's probably people who actually just specialize in corn photography.
Yeah, they're called chronographers.
Yeah, chronos. But
Cornography.
That's what I think is interesting is that they know too. The government knows we have to overstimulate the society, or they're just going to be too many thinkers, and we can't control these thinkers. And I say they've done a pretty good job at it.
Yeah, psyops out the wazoo.
Because once you get in and you get adapted, it's hard. It's hard for people. I mean, social media is almost like an epidemic. Like if you cut off social media, I think a lot of people would panic.
Probably.
Yeah, it's very interesting how they've really perfected that.
Well, and rightly so. A lot of that is their livelihood. You know, that would suck. It's like you can't pay bills, and now you don't even know how to flip burgers. You don't know how to be a blacksmith. You don't know how to be a shoemaker. And you definitely don't know how to run a government. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, at some point, yeah, I guess there's a double function. Not only will we overstimulate you, if you ever try to get out of this matrix, you're going to find yourself right back because you're purposeless. You don't even have any skill to contribute. So you're just going to find yourself back anyway.
Yep, and that's the stimulation of the simulation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah, it's a stiffy.
Yeah, it's tough because people don't want to read. It's like it's almost like reading today is almost like people, swinging an axe back in the day. That was hard labor, or digging a ditch or something. It's like that's really hard, strenuous labor. And for people to just open a book and read it. I don't know, I was just talking about some novel or something.
You showed the video. I guess they'll see it this week on Saturday, but you showed this guy giving out axes to homeless people, and they still knew it. Like one guy knew exactly what he was going to do with it.
Yeah, but those are the exception to the rules. Like that guy, he's been waiting. Like he had a plan. He just needed the resources, and this guy showed up with the resources. Like, I got a 5-stage plan.
Yeah, I don't even think he said thank you. Like I think he just grabbed it and then went on his way.
He's like, I'll take one.
Yeah, and then he just left.
Yeah,
he knew exactly where to go. Everybody else is playing with it. He's like, man, I wonder what I could do with this. They're thinking, but this guy's like 5 steps ahead.
Yeah, but that's the exception. Like most people, it's a daunting task. But and I don't know how you fix that because AI now, like people, at least back in the day with Google, like you have a thought. You type in something, and you got to still go read the article. Like Google didn't actually tell you the answer. You would search something like, how are clothes hangers made? It wouldn't tell you. It'd just give you a website. You go to the website, and you have to read it. And now you are learning. And then you're like, oh, okay. Now you type in, how are clothes hangers made? And Google's just going to tell you. And that's it. And that real simplified answer is more than suffice for most people. And they're actually happy. I don't have to go read anything.
But unless you're a professional clothes hanger maker.
Yeah.
It sounds really fun. But if you're a professional clothes hanger maker, then you're going to be buying those books on that. Yeah, you're not just going to settle for the quick bullet-pointed answer from Google AI.
Yeah, but that's the people who have that objective. But most people, they've always had to do some labor to get that dopamine, that satisfaction of information. Now you're just force-fed, 5 seconds. Everybody's a scholar. Everybody's an expert because AI tells me. And then they're going to make that authority fallacy. Are you smarter than AI? Are you smarter than Google?
Well, dopamine is, you can get it anywhere nowadays. Well, they don't call it dopamine. The shortened version is dope. But you can get it anywhere.
Like pipe dope.
Any dope.
Yeah. Anyways, let's see, back to the chats.
Ted B says, shout out to colleague. Thank you. Then he says, the wife must be happy. Oh, she is. Believe you me. I make her happy every day.
That's good.
C Spears, so 23 C Spear So 23 says, I used to be able to bench 225 for 20.
20 reps.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Took the words right out of my lips.
Right out of your throat.
Then Ted B says, my ears. Happy new ears. Then he said, shout out to Linda Hamilton and Ron Perlman. Original Beauty and the Beast.
See, Ted, he's an expert.
Yeah.
I can feel it. Like, once you said those names, I had no clue what that is.
Me neither, but he knew.
Yeah. See, everybody has their field.
Yeah.
That's good.
Oh.
That's actually what Plato thought justice was.
Yeah. He was playing a game as old as time.
Yeah, I know. Or outside of time.
Tale as old as time.
You're adjusting your tail?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then Ted B says, humility goes a long way with greatness.
Yeah, but the great warriors, they didn't think that. Like Genghis Khan or Alexander the Great or these people, they didn't really take much into humility. They just took into domination.
Yeah, but they went a long way with greatness.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, their greatness it came because they didn't stop for a second to think, should I be humble about this? They ravaged the lands.
The women and children.
Yeah, I think humility comes. I think humility comes more when you actually are not engaging in war. Like, I don't think you can be a humble warrior. Like, that seems paradoxical. Like, when I'm in war, I'm not here to be humble. I'm here to be as ravenous as I possibly can be. I'm not here to think, am I being a little too arrogant or pompous here? It's times of peace that we think that.
Yeah.
And maybe that's where narcissism is. It's like you have no reason to fight or be macho or be, whatever you're propagating, and yet you're doing it anyway. It's almost like a purposeless arrogance. Like, there's a time to be arrogant. It's like, I'm going to war. I need to have that super massive confidence and arrogance in my mind. Like, I am the best. You can't be second guessing yourself when you're out there and people are shooting at you. But yeah, I guess maybe narcissism comes down to it's a purposeless arrogance. Like, there's no reason for it.
Well, if you're thinking just narcissism, I think that's more like manipulation stuff and how people, like very highly manipulative people, like more than most. Everybody manipulates everybody. But these people do a lot more than most people. They go to different ends to manipulate people.
Yeah, but then there's just primitive
like
functions of it, just people are just like a bully, like at school. They're being hyper narcissistic, and it's purposeless. Like, there's no reason for you to pick on these people, but you're just showing, I'm better than all of you. It's almost like a purposeless arrogance. And they're not premeditating anything. They're just a bully. And then maybe that's where it really stems. It's like, if you got no real purpose in anything, then everybody thinks this is real stupid. Maybe that's the best way to summarize that. Because there is a time where you just have to be as confident and arrogant as possible when it's time to fight, when it's time to go to war.
Yeah. Meekness is weakness.
Yeah, when somebody's shooting at you.
Yeah, when you're in the war, yeah, you don't want to get run through.
No.
By a spear or a sword.
You don't want to get your back blown out.
Yeah, no.
That's the last thing you want.
C-Spear says, why was the name of the show changed? Did you mention the names of those we do not speak? Of those we do not speak.
Check out the Discord. It's a long time coming, but we're here now. The Matrix Network is here. Yeah, they even speaking of the name that we don't speak is
some other 3-letter acronym.
It's actually a 4-letter TTTV.
Oh, okay. Well, you just said it.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying the word. But
we can. I think YouTube changed religions. I don't think their 3-letter acronym, the WHO, is off.
No, we can say the World Health Organization.
Yeah, we can say that now. We can actually say it in vain.
Yeah.
But before, we could not.
Like we can blaspheme COVID.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can blaspheme the holy WHO, their holy name. We can blaspheme it. We can use it in vain. We can do whatever we want with it now. Before, YouTube used to be really religious with that. But now, maybe they lost their faith. Maybe YouTube lost their faith, or maybe they switched religions. I don't know, and honestly, I really don't care as long as we're not stepping on anybody's toes.
Yeah, it is. It is like that. Like Bill Clinton says, "What is." So then we say what the modern street philosophers say: it is what it is.
Like Chris Hansen said, you're going away for a very long time, jolly old friend.
Yeah, it's because he pulled out his sack of gifts.
Yeah, he's got a big fat sack riding on his back for all the boys and the girls in the neighborhood.
Whoa. Next.
Ted B says some conspiracies are not far-fetched. Oh, yeah, and then he responds to C Spear. He says, giving Iron Man Bill a Christmas present today. I can't be on live. I have family dinner. I have to sign off. See everyone next week.
All right.
And then he said, last thought for the day. Folks don't think. They just repost.
That's a good word to leave us with. That's a regurgitation instead of contemplation. It's easier, though. You see something, you read something, you resonate with it. You're not thinking what you're signing up for. It's kind of like a lot of things. Everything has baggage. But if it's shiny, if it's something attractive, you just think, I want that. But you don't realize everything has baggage.
That's unless the baggage is wrinkly.
So regardless, the old mantra, you need to count the cost. Because even the best of things will cost you something. There's no free lunch. Even though you think it's free, free comes at dependency. So the more you take free things, that comes at the cost of the one that's giving the free. And that means now you are a slave or dependent on the one that's giving you that free thing. So free comes at the cost of dependency.
Yeah, that's what they say. Freedom isn't freedom.
Yeah. So, yeah, you have to count the cost of everything that you take. If you're not aware, you become a regurgitator. There's a lot of,
soup.
Woods of wisdom.
Yeah. That's because we know that people out there are going to take and they're going to take, what do they call those? Clip us? Yeah.
I wish people would clip us.
Yeah. I wish we'd get chopped and screwed.
Mm-hmm.
But it only happens sometimes.
Yeah. I'm still trying to recalibrate my brain. Anyways.
As you should.
Yeah. I'm trying my best. Yeah, it like I said, I don't want to go back on that tangent, but yeah, it still feel kind of out of it. And it'd be fine if I got fart-faced last night and I got plastered all over the place. That would make sense. But I literally just been chilling, just sitting around trying to take a break, and that actually made me feel more incapacitated than anything.
So you should have got sloshed.
I mean, if I did, it would make sense. Like, I get that. Anyways, it's neither here nor there. It's just really strange. I don't feel optimal right now.
You should have hailed Mary.
No, that doesn't sound very optimal either, but...
Well, you should have had iced tea then.
Yeah, I'll pass on that. And I don't like chai tea either, but...
I wasn't going to offer it.
Do you like spice?
What do you mean?
and everything nice. See, every time I think of chai tea, it's that weird stuff.
Every time I think of spice,
Mm-hmm.
think of tea.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, the Mayflower
Yeah.
compact.
Yeah. 1624.
I think that's where everybody's minds go.
Yeah. I think not. All right. Back to where everybody's minds is.
Back to work.
Mm-hmm.
CP, the boss hog, says, just had an epiphany that the reason they call dope is short for dopamine. I was today years old.
Yeah. Shout out to colleague.
Yeah. Well,
that's a big problem. People have ADD. The reason why you're lacking focus is because you have what's called an executive function disorder. It's very hard for people with ADD to do the rudimentary things. Like for more normal people, you get up, you brush your teeth, or whatever your routine is. And it's very normal because your executive functions are always consistent because your dopamine is always flowing in a normal state. They're not fried. Your receptors. But for people with ADD, they've been overstimulated and now they're not as optimal. And it's hard to get that satisfaction. So what happens is that, in the beginning stages, you could always for a couple of days, you're like, I'm really going to create this New Year resolution. I'm going to do this. And then what happens is, after about 3 days, you get bored or tired or something else. You make an excuse and you're gone. Go to the next thing. It's just not that structural, constant, normal flow of dopamine. And your executive functions become dysfunctional. And so that's where it gets hard. It's hard to live your life without dopamine.
I said it's hard.
Yeah, it's
hard. Yeah. Well, I think most America struggles with obesity.
And that's not OCD, but OBCD.
Yeah, obesity.
Yeah.
It's obsessive bacon disorder.
Basic consumption disorder.
Yeah. Forgot to see.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyways, it is neither here nor there. See, I just feel like I'm not on spar. Like I usually have this next transitional thing. My mind's flowing to the next thing. I just feel like I'm just hitting these weird walls. It's very strange. Next thing.
That's it.
Wow, we're at the bottom of the chat. You guys have to...
we're scratching the barrel right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I could play a clip real quick and see what people think.
Yeah, I had a couple articles we can go through, but I'm not sure if people want to go through all of that.
I'm sure everybody has been seeing Stranger Things. They just released the last episode, which I have not seen yet. They released it yesterday, which was genius. They released, I think, 1 or 2 or 3 on Christmas, which was a bold but genius move. And then they stopped. They were it's the last one to be on Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve. So I was like, wow. But a lot of people had some thoughts about everything before last night's episode. So I'm not going to give any spoiler alerts for last night's episode. I don't even know. But everything prior to that, though, I'm just going to say you be warned. I'm going to spoil some things if you haven't watched. I think it's the second to last episode that they did this. But here's some people's thoughts on some stuff. So that's one person's take on what happened. And honestly, I felt the same exact way. And then when I saw that, I was like, oh, yeah, that says it pretty clearly.
What's the insinuation?
Did you see that episode?
Mm-mm.
Oh, well. Basically, and again, this is a spoiler, so if you haven't seen it, Will, the guy in Stranger Things, the young boy, he comes out as gay. And which, again, nobody cared. Like, I think everybody knew. I think, me and my wife knew. I think everybody actually on the show, and like the characters actually knew too. But for some weird reason, this guy was like haunted by this, and he made it this big scene. And it's like, why? And then not only that, it's like, the end of the world is at stake, and we're over here talking about different sex positions and which ones we prefer. And it's like, and why? But anyway, that was my question. I saw this guy do it, and I was like, man, that's great. So then other people are now making a lot of other stuff, too. You guys just have to see to believe.
This is supposed to be mimicking the guy on Stranger Things.
Yeah, this is Will. Will. He's like, you ain't got to be shy, little bit.
Hold on, don't switch over. I want to make sure something here.
All right, I'll just play it again.
Yeah, go ahead. See if you guys can hear it now. I think the people over on Rumble are saying they couldn't hear the audio. Can you guys hear it now? I don't know if that's the audio you want to hear.
Come here.
Yeah.
You ain't got to be shy, little baby. Come here.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's just typical. The audio works now. Yeah, it had I had to change the OBS setting. But thanks for that. I wouldn't have known that. Thanks for that over at Rumble. Yeah, they were actually commenting they couldn't hear the audio on the clip.
Oh yeah, well you guys are welcome now. I have a couple more clips to play on Stranger Things stuff, but I'm sure people are having their thoughts too.
It's the perfect thing. It's a massive anticipated finale. So you have all these eyes, and what do you want to propagate?
Something that everybody already knew.
Right. This
we already knew that. All right.
Cliche agenda. But it's, like anything, acclamation creates normality. It becomes normal. And that's what they want. They want things to have a consistent foundational structure. This is normality. And so eventually everybody's going to say exactly that. Oh, yeah, we already know. Who cares? It's normal. And the normality is their agenda. But adding to that agenda, but before I do, I think you have one more clip.
Yeah, just a couple more, or maybe one more. We'll see how it goes. Just, getting conversations going, because I know a lot of people have been talking about this Stranger Things crap. I don't ever, I watch it with my family. I don't ever watch TV alone. I feel like it's a waste of time, but that's just me. So when I watch it with them, I was like, wow. And it just, anyway. And then, so I on my Facebook and everywhere, everybody's talking about these scenes, like that Will scene, and this one where Holly and what's that girl's name? The Carrot Top girl, the redhead. Anyway, Holly and the redhead are getting ready to escape Vecna's mind, and they're getting ready to go back into their own bodies, and they're standing there. It seems like for a long time having this conversation anyway, you guys have probably seen the scene. If you haven't, well, you should probably go look at it before you look at this, but here it is.
Listen, you can't go with me. That's my body. You'll have to find yours. But Max, how can I do that? Just believe. I do believe. It's working.
They don't want to jump back in their body?
No.
This posits
Okay,
a
well,
really interesting philosophical question,
Better
too.
did. I don't think I want to go there. Holly, you have to. You can't stay with Vecna. Well, that's easy for you to say when you're running back to getting a back massage. Listen, I'm sure yours isn't as bad as it seems.
That's pretty bad.
I think it's funny that. Listen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like they're also propagating the malady of body dysphoria. Dysphoria.
It's funny. I actually had the same thoughts again. I was like, so that the propagation's working because I'm having these same thoughts, and I turn on social media. It's like everybody's having the same thoughts. Like, so we're all in this collective mind having the same thoughts. Not only that, another one of my thoughts was this feels weird. They have these little kids with these things shoved down their throats.
Oh yeah, off top. But that's cliche Disney propaganda.
Yeah, and people are talking about it. Like, yeah, this is giving a lot of essay stuff.
And it's pure Aladdin.
Yeah, and it's like, and then she had to go back to that. This little girl had to go back, but they didn't mention that. They didn't say anything in the actual spot.
But you could see it.
Yeah, and you can see it, like her face. You could actually see it. I was like, wow, she has to go back to that. I would just stay in that area and try to find something else. But she went back into us. Why would you do it?
Yeah, so here's the philosophical quandary with them. Let's suppose that you and I were here, and like that, we'll just use that analogy right there, and you have to choose. Do you send me or do you send you back to there?
Well, you can't
No,
swap.
just philosophically. See, the quandary is if let's say you send me over there, I have to deal with that suffering. If you send yourself over there, you'll self-sacrifice yourself. But the idea is if you have the opportunity to send someone else to deal with that, even though that's your body, you're supposed to go back to that. Mm-hmm. You're like, I don't want to go there, but I have the opportunity to send somebody else there.
Yeah, you're saying is sacrifice yourself here.
Yeah, the quandary is almost like, you should be self-sacrificial, but it's like, no, if I have the opportunity, like she's like, I can stay here, but the opportunity is no. This magical brain in the vat. This wizard says you only have two choices. You can send yourself back to that, or you can send colleague back to that. Which one are you going to do? And you're looking at that like that. And it's like that's a very tough question because how long is this going to last? What is this? And you don't know anything. And so it's one of these things, these quandaries of self-preservation and self-sacrifice. But I don't think that was the agenda, but it's just, thinking about that.
It's ultimate altruism.
Yeah, but that always makes me think these kind of situations always arise. And if we have the opportunity, we're always going to probably end up saying, you know what, I'll send, where's the screen?
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, but on that idea of contraception, this week one thing I was reading, which I'm going to correlate next week, is we've been talking about for the last month about reindustrialization. We're getting back to reality. And the issues with population reduction and population control. Like I've always said, the globalists have a paradoxical quandary. They try to do things to control population, so population reduction. But at the same time, if you have a lack of population, nobody can feed your pyramid scheme. You need new people coming in, new babies, so they'll be the ones to feed the people at the top of the pyramid. So China recognizes this because China has this issue that they're having more older people than newer people. It's everywhere. America has this. Europe has this. So China has imposed this new thing that they're going to start doing, which I'm going to show here, to try to remedy this populational decline. And I don't know if America should take this as an idea, but this is what's going on. China is imposing a condom tax and cheaper child care. China's plan to boost birth rates. So If you want to buy condoms, it's going to be really expensive. But China's going to subsidize healthcare. So they're going to so if you have children, we're going to help and make it cheap. But if you try to prevent having children with contraceptions, it's going to be really expensive. And so people have to weigh the cost. And, that might be a good plan if you want to force people to have children. It's just going to be too expensive not to. And it's going to be beneficial to have them because the government's going to subsidize healthcare. So that's what they're doing over there.
It is kind of weird that they're talking about condoms with a little kid on the screen. Like, that's the picture they wanted to give us.
Well, that's BBC, and I don't think that's the BBC that, most people are thinking, but that's the British Broadcasting Channel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like everybody's after the same game.
But, yeah, so that's their idea. They're going to impose like a 13% to 15% tax on condoms. So... And the only reason why I think that's interesting because everybody is in America. The American Western construct is to demonize foreign constructs, which is fine. That's what other countries do. Like China is propagating that America has these problems and vice versa. That's fine. It's propaganda at its finest. But everybody knows a reality. A real fact is population is declining. It's not increasing. So every major country, all the first world countries have to deal with that. But what is America going to do to deal with that? As more women have careers and more people are having to have two incomes just to survive, who has the money? Like these future Gen Zs and Gen Alphas when they start having children, how are they? What would incentivize them to have children? It's like I can barely make it. I need to have a partner just so I can survive. Forget children. It's like I can't even live on one income. I need somebody else to help me just to live. I can't afford a third, fourth, fifth mouth to feed. So what are you going to do? And China's like, well, we're just going to make it too expensive for you not to have children. So it's up to you. But China can do that. Is America going to do something like that? Probably not. But what's America's remedy to the population issue?
America's trying to get rid of population, not trying to...
But that's the problem. If America gets rid of population, who's going to feed the next top of the pyramid? Like when you or my time is to collect Social Security, like they say in 2031, they're going to have to reduce Social Security payouts to 80%. By 2036 to 2040, it's 50%. And eventually, there's just not going to be any there because population is declining. So there's no new people at the bottom of the pyramid to feed the ones who need to get their distribution at the top of the pyramid.
Well, we know that the elites have a plan. It's not like, so they are going to be able to take care of themselves, or the robots will. By the time things need to be there, they will be there.
No, that's what Elon says. There's two outcomes to this AI construct. There's a utopia possibility, or there's the dystopia. The utopia is hopefully AI gets to a point and robotic get to a point that we can be self-sufficient and distribution of resources can be equitable for people, but, what gives people incentives to be productive? If you get everything, why are you incentivized to work? Clearly you won't because you're just going to get everything. So you're going to have this Wall-E world.
But you know that the elites already had this conversation and they already figured out solutions. They wouldn't be making these moves to end their own lives. That's why I think it's to preserve themselves.
That's why I think it's interesting. You see China doing things to try to remedy this, while you see America doing absolutely nothing. But the population issue is still just as prevalent in America and in China. So it's just interesting. One place is being proactive to fix it. One place is not. But the issue is in both countries. That's what I think is. So there is. What I'm saying is, it seems like it's not a global elite structure. It seems like yes, there is the Western structure, and then there's the Eastern structure. Because the Eastern structure says, no, we're going to deal with this. And the Western structure is saying, no, we're not dealing with that. So the idea that there's this global cabal, it just seems like they're not on the same playing field.
Maybe not on a global scale, but yeah. America at least.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Now it really feels like there is a real deglobalization. And now it's Western Hemisphere, Eastern Hemisphere. It's becoming more in your face. It's becoming more real.
Or that could be a facade too. It's hard to know. Like again, back in the day, we could have understood the government. They were still on the same playing field as us. They were still learning, but now they're not learning anything from us anymore. They're learning from AI, but they're not learning from us indirectly. Like they don't need to bring out another MK Ultra device.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need to do this weird backmasking in songs. They don't need to do subliminal messaging. That's just a lot of work.
Right.
It's so tired.
But that's why I think it's interesting. If America, let's say America puts a tax on condoms and birth control pills and all that, it will increase the birth rate. That's just because
They don't want to.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. If they did, it would increase the birth rate. China's doing it, which means they will increase their birth rate.
Or if America gave bigger tax returns for each kid that you have, that'd be another incentive. And, just as a single, they could raise the taxes for single people, and they could make up excuses as to why or whatever, just like they always do anyway.
Well, yeah, that's what China's doing. They're increasing the subsidy payouts to individuals to have for children, so for health care. So if you have children, we're going to give you money, and we're increasing taxes on condoms. We're doing both. And in America says we're not doing either, at least not yet. Of course, they could do one.
Well, America does give, what do they call that?
The child credit.
Yeah, for dependables.
Yeah, earned income
Dependents.
credit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying. It's at a constant rate. I mean, it goes up with inflation, but it's at a constant rate. If they gave huge subsidies, yeah, maybe. But that'd be still a selective group. If you are making under $44K, you don't really get as many subsidies. So it's like, so you need to be poor and you need to have a lot of children. So you're actually decreasing the benefit of the people. Yeah, you can have a lot of money for your children, but you got to be poor. Well, in China, they're saying none of that. You just have children, don't care how much you make, and condoms are going to be expensive. So they're actually trying to deal with the situation, while in America is like, we want you to be poor, have a lot of children.
Isn't that perfect? Have a lot of children that can work for us and be poor, because then you have to work for us.
Right, you're dependent on us.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Right, that's what I'm saying. There seems to be two structures, and that's why it seems very interesting. Seems to be a real divide on the globalizational structure.
I think China needs to sit down at the feet of Unc Sam, because then they can learn a lot. They could learn a thing or two.
I got you. Yeah, shout out to
the Unc
Bernays.
Talking about Edwards.
Yeah.
Well, the great Unc.
Oh, that's the Unc of those Uncle Sam posters and stuff. Cree and Bernays and boys.
Yeah. It's just.
We need you.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that what about that picture with the woman with her sleeve rolled up? What's that called? There's a name for it.
I can't remember.
It's not women's rights, but it usually symbolizes.
But they wanted women to get back into they wanted women to the work field. That was Rockefeller's agenda. We need more tax. That's why schooling, like public education, was so structured to get people habituated to be a factory worker.
Excuse me.
We need women in there so that we can get more taxation. We need women smoking so they can feel more masculine and dominant and empowered. This was all part of Bernays, Cree, and the Committee of Public Information, the propaganda machine that was created back in the 20s and such. So, which is fine. Every country does that. It's just, what I'm saying is it just seems like there's a very obvious divide. This idea of a global cabal doesn't seem to jive as much as it's probably seemed in the last 20 years. And now, if I hear America coming out with stuff like that, then yeah, but that'd be radical. That'd be radical to see America say, yeah, we're going to put a condom tax out. We're going to put birth control pills on like hyper, very expensive. Like they're not even be covered by health care, like your health insurance. Well, people are going to have children.
And then people will start talking.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. America doesn't seem like they want to do that.
No, they're still reducing population. Honestly, they should just send the population to China, since they don't care if China increases their population. It could be a win-win, and they could gain an ally.
Yeah, but they don't want that either.
like send all these foster care babies and children to China. Let China raise them because those will be good homes. They're going to learn structure. They're going to do really well. Be fed really well. Fed good food, not the Red 9 and all that stuff that we're eating.
And the Cloud 10.
Yeah. Yeah. And then China can use them for their force, whatever they want to do with them. But America, at the same time, they would actually solve all kinds of problems. They would solve the foster care problem that they want to get rid of anyway. They would solve their population problem. It would just be another way. Like, again, we've talked many times about how many different ways America reduces population and controls the population.
Well, yeah, and that's why I think it's interesting, because if you want reindustrialization to be real, which means you got to start manufacturing here, you got to make, everybody knows if you got an American-made product that was made back in the 50s and 60s, people cherished that. It's like those were good products. They still work today. And that's the idea. Reindustrialization is bringing back reindustrializing. We're going to make manufacturing here. We're going to make America products really good, like back in the 50s. But to do that, you got to have the young people, because you got to build these factories. We don't have a large manufacturing infrastructure here. So that's why Trump's idea is we need to force manufacturing to be back here. But to do that, who's going to work that? So you have two choices. You're either going to get automation to do it, or you got to have people. But you got to have young people. Because these old people, they're getting old, and eventually they're going to die off in the next 20 years. And who's going to be doing all this manufacturing work? So if you keep on allowing population growth to decline, nobody's going to be working in your factories. So the idea, what I'm saying is a big scheme. You can't have reindustrialization as a dream and population reduction. It's a paradox. That's why I keep saying this is a weird paradox. You got to have population growth so these young people will grow up to work in these factories. If not, then the only hope is automation and robotics. But then what's the whole point of telling people we need to do reindustrialization? It's a paradoxical function. Like what I'm saying is China's focusing on that, and that's why they know we need more people to feed into the manufacturing infrastructure.
It's like that American song. It's like, do I remind you of your daddy in his '88 Ford?
The fake red barn?
No, '88 Ford.
Oh, they said the '88 barn.
No, '88 Ford, and
sounds like an old country song.
It probably is. But yeah, it's sang by a guy who's apparently driving an '88 Ford. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, but see, back in the days, those Fords, those trucks, those cars, anything, it was something people would want. But yeah, if you want that again, you got to have young people to work the factories. But you can't get that with population reduction. So it's all a scheme. If you have if you want reindustrialization, you got to increase the birth rate. And they have to be healthy enough so they can work these factory jobs. So they just can't be barely living, barely surviving, doom scrolling all day. So it's a paradox. So unless I see America try to fix this populational issue, I don't believe the reindustrializational dream.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to feed the bottom of the pyramid. Because if there's nobody new, the money runs out. And when the money runs out, nobody's working no more. Everybody's like, now I know it's a scam. Like, we're already feeling it now. Like you and I, our generation, we're like, we already can tell we're not getting money. We're not getting Social Security when we get old. So we're already seeing it's like the incentive to keep feeding this pyramid is very low. I can only imagine when the Gen Alphas and Gen Zs get to our age, they're going to be like, yeah, there's absolutely nobody having children. This is 100% scam. And we're down to like 50% payouts on Social Security. I'm not feeding this at all, which is going to even de-incentivize more for people having children. It's like, why should I have children when I already know my children's lives are going to suck? Because they're going to have absolutely nothing. Because either you're going to have to supplement this with robots, which means people are not necessary, or you're going to have to fix the population. That's what I'm saying. And now I'm being redundant. So it's a paradox. That's why I always say, until I see America fix the population issue, I don't believe in this reindustrial dream.
You've heard it said before that the elites, their thoughts are higher than our thoughts, and their ways are higher than our ways.
Yes.
And who can contain them? Who can search the minds of the elites of America?
I don't know. That's a very good question.
And who can stay their hand?
But we can see their patterns.
Yeah, but if you speak about it, though, like what we've done, we had to be careful. We had to tread lightly because they may turn their face towards us.
Oh, I'm sure it'll happen again.
Oh yeah, we've already felt their hand above us before.
Yeah, their hand is swift, and their words are slow,
Mm-hmm.
but their feet are metal, and their hands are clay.
Well, they definitely, what they do is they come in and they judge the quick and they judge the dead.
And the wee-wee.
The wee-wee?
Yeah, the wee-wees.
Well,
anyways, back to the Jets. If anybody has said anything.
CP, the boss hog, says, I never watched Stranger Things, but now that I know it's gay or whatever, I'll pass. And then he said, can we just go back to the late 80s, early 90s when everything was big guns, big muscles, hot chicks, and fast cars, please? Yeah, well, we saw where that got us. Being too fast and too furious. What was the guy's name? The main guy?
Texas Ranger Walker.
Yeah, that's probably it. The guy who died in a car accident in real life. he was the main guy of Too Fast and Too Furious, and then he actually died in real life by, I think he was drinking and driving, but he smashed into a pole or something. Yeah. Anyway, but that's what happens. You crash into a pole.
Well, the only way you can get all those things that people think about in the 80s and 90s have to do with realities that are outside of a digitalized entertainment structure. Like, you always had movies and such, but if you're talking about working on cars, you're talking about hobbies, you're talking about things
Paul
that are,
Walker, that's what his name is. Yeah.
if you're talking about things that are outside of a digitalized entertainment structure, the only way to have those things is you can't be consumed by the digital infrastructure. We're too embedded. Like, think of, if you want to go back to that, the younger generations have to go back to that. That's corporations, they supply the demand. If there's a demand for something, they'll try to construct the demand because it's easy. It's like, if we can build the demand, then we can sell it to you. But if there's a fighting force to say, I want this, like, nostalgia becomes a big thing, then you'll see it. Like retro, like clothing companies, like, oh, people just want bell bottoms again. We'll make it. Like, they want to give you this new fashion, but if people don't want it, they just want that nostalgia, they will make it. So unless you can get the younger generations to want to go back to working on cars and working outside and having these.
But they are going back to bell bottoms.
Well,
and
sure.
they are going back to the pedo mustache. And I'm talking, it's funny. These straight men are going hard on gay people and all this. Gay people are going hard on straight people, but we're all just adopting each other's ideas, and everybody's just, again, that mustache, the Reno 911 mustache, like that used to be a satire, but now it's coming back. It just looks weird. It's like on a pretty face, on a smooth face with a mustache, you look like someone who shouldn't have a laptop, or at least someone who shouldn't have a desktop,
Right.
Let alone, yeah. But that, and this is always, well, we already talked about this, so never mind. Oh, look, Tommy's here.
Hey.
And David Zerman's here, too.
Tommy boy.
And YouTube bot has already spoken before,
David
but he's still
Zern.
here, too. Yeah, we are going back to the 80s and 90s with our clothing style and even some of our language, like talking about how beats bop and boops beep, and
Well, slang,
we can wig out.
like I say, these things are functions that are low energy. That's really easy.
Yeah, it's rad.
But when you talk about energy output comparative to consumption, like, you have to go out there and work on some of these, like working on a car or having external hobbies all these things force you to get out of the digital infrastructure. Like you have to get off of the games, you have to get off of the scrolling, the social media to go out there. It's like you have to choose. Like you can't be doom scrolling and working on your engine at the same time. Like you have to make a sacrifice here. And so the idea of energy consumption and the satisfaction of entertainment, it's too easy. It's like let me just grab a bag of chips. You can't just you could just eat a bag of chips all day and every day, and it's really easy, but it's going to cost you.
It's going to go straight to your thighs.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like they set up these reward systems that are so low energy that even people thinking about going out there and turning a wrench or working on a car or doing whatever or having some satisfaction in manufacturing, like my job has value, I'm producing good products, they have to choose to sacrifice the easy dopamine triggers of the digital infrastructure. And that's really difficult because the way things are moving forward, you might have manufacturing and other things, but they're going to think this is miserable. They're not going to have pride in that. Like industrialization requires some kind of pride in my labor, my handmanship, my skill. Like I have pride in my work. But if you feel it as a daunting task and this is just slave labor, then you're just longing to go back home, to go back to the games and go back to the social media and the digital infrastructure. And therefore, it's still just going to be low quality input because you got to take pride in your work. You got to want this to be good. Or you're going to have to replace it with something that can do that, which is robotics or something else that doesn't care. It just will produce a constant product. But for humans to produce good products, they have to have some kind of pride or appreciation of their product, or they just push out trash. Like they don't care. Quality control doesn't care. Nobody cares. Next thing you know, you got like a toe in your Vahina sausages or something. Nobody cares. Like you're actually playing with a remote control car. Next thing you know, you open up to change the battery, and there's like a rat foot in it or something. Nobody cares.
It might end up on the internet, but yeah.
But again, then let's go doom scroll that. Check that out.
Yeah.
I'd rather do that than go to work at this factory plant.
Yeah. Yeah. During Christmas, I was trying to help my wife out a little here and there, and I was trying to put a bun in the oven, and that actually became a task too. Even something so simple, and she asked me to. Like she asked for it, so it's not like I just I like helping where I can, but sometimes I just need to be asked. But I did. I was able to put the bun in the oven, and it came out perfect. It was lightly brown. But I was able. Everybody enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think that will be the conflict of the future. There's going to be a divide. There are going to be those people like the what they call it, the red pill community, where they're trying to focus on more masculinity and
democracy.
Yeah, it's like
the blue pill people,
the big macho idea. Which then maybe you can use that to jumpstart some idea of like induced pride or something. But, what if they're just a bunch of incels? But
then you have the blue pill people that come out and they're all Republican or whatever.
I'm saying, but then you have the other side, which is the embedded nihilism, which is I don't see hope for the future. I see everything as just being worse. And you can't persuade me that things are going to get better. So you're not going to convince these people to be productive. And I think that's going to be the quandary in the future, because for this reindustrial dream to happen, not only do you need birth rate increase on a constant flow, you also need the pride in the building infrastructure. And it's just a weird quandary. Everything's fed digitally. And this is where everybody gets their entertainment, but it's fighting against the idea of external manufacturing, external pride and craftsmanship, because everything's like, well, if I'm going to build something good, it's going to be digital. Like maybe I'm focusing on digital art. Maybe I'm going to be a vibe coder. Maybe I'm going to do something like that. But they're not thinking about I'm going to be like a blacksmith or I'm going to make, really nice leather belts. There are people who do that. Or I'm going to be a plumber
or a shoemaker.
Yeah, shoemaker, something like that. Like the idea of this like good craftsmanship and taking pride in what I do is very long gone.
Oh, hello, Noah Cloud.
Hello, Mr. Cloud. Welcome back.
And need I remind everyone in this room that it's open. If anybody wants to come in, we're always open.
Yeah, if anybody wants to join the live, you guys can. Let me know. I'll put the link in. But
yeah,
I just don't know how you get the younger people to do that.
Give them the purple pill.
Without cutting it off. Like, this is why I think a lot of countries are trying to restrict. Like, Australia just a month ago passed a law saying if you're under 16, we're going to have to restrict social media consumption. Wow, Tom says, I just walked in from the gas station and found like $4,000 on the ground. That felt like some sort of karmic test.
It was.
Yeah, did you put it back?
Did you pass the test?
Yeah, or did you take it?
Because, McCormick's not going to be happy with you if you did.
I know. His seasoning's really strong.
Mm-hmm.
McCormick.
Yeah, McCormick.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see. Well, moving on to other topics.
Man, we're so rich. You could actually hear it in our laugh.
Yeah, I know. Us and our golden yachts. Is there anything else in the chats?
Yeah. CP the Boss Hog says, we already read that. The BBC that most people think is big black Cocker Spaniel. Beautiful dogs. That's probably what most people are thinking. But that would be BBCS, I feel like. But I don't know. YouTube bot says China's gold diggers panic. The simp economy is collapsed.
I'll expand on that. Tell us more about this simp economy. I like that. I like that phrase.
Tommy says he's here. He says, I almost missed the show. David Zerm says the pedo stash that these young guys have indicates that their dads were pedos. It's genetic.
It's like they don't even have a choice. It's like you just start, as a baby, you see a little bit, but as you grow, it just happens. It's like, oh yeah. It's like you can't do anything about it, so you embrace it. It's like, and my dad had it too.
You know what's funny is what I realized, because I always used to wonder when I was younger, I used to wonder what made those mustaches look good on some people and not other people. And I figured it out. You can wear it if you're old enough. You have to look old, though. If you don't look old, let's say you're 85, but you look young, you can't wear it. You have to look old. You can be a 20-year-old who looks like an 80-year-old, and you can wear a mustache and get away with it, because then it looks like you're from that mustache era. So it's okay. Anybody else, if you have if your skin is too smooth, you don't have too many wrinkles, and you have a mustache, then it looks off, because it looks like you don't have social awareness or social cues. You don't know how to look, and they usually, again, under age, they look too young, but they're wearing these 87-year-old clothes, like computer-looking clothes, and then the mustache and the glasses, like they're in the wrong era. It's not that they're ahead of their time. They're actually behind their time. And they're looking for people who they're looking for that next generation to influence. Yeah, anyway, so that's what it is. So if you look old enough, but that's what's weird. It's throwing everything off, because now the Gen Zs, who all look way too young, they all have these mustaches. So now, yeah, you can't even tell who's registered and who's not. Like, you walk in your neighborhood, you used to be able to just tell who's registered just by looking at their face. But now it's like everybody looks registered, so now nobody's registered.
You think it's a mark of rebellion?
It could be a thing for the map people. I know how just a few years ago, like during the whole COVID season, the government and universities and all their DEI stuff, they were really pushing hard that we should accept the MAPs, the minor attractive persons, or the chomos or pedophiles or whatever. We should accept those Epsteins out there as equal to us because it's just a sexual preference of theirs, and they're no different or no worse or better than us. Anyway, but that was their agenda. They're really pushing that, so it makes me wonder if this is just another way around it. They got all the Gen Zs to, first of all, have the same haircut too. That's another big thing. Gen Zs and Gen Alphas, and I can't say every single one, but the Gen Zs who are not aware. If there's Gen Zs watching our show and they haven't turned it off yet, then they're probably more aware than most other ones. So the Gen Zs who are not aware, the Gen Alphas who are not aware, the Millennials who are not aware, the Gen Xs and Boomers who are not aware, they just fall into the same patterns that everybody else is. Anyway, but it is interesting that specifically the Z and Alpha generations all have the same haircuts. So anyway, enough said. I'll get off my box.
Well, another thing I was reading this past week, Social Security is going to be dumping another 3.1% COLA. So Social Security. So they're giving their annual COLA of 3.1%, which is their cost of living allowance. So people who are getting their Social Security payouts, they're going to get a payout raise of 3.1%. And see, this is what makes it even more difficult. They understand that we're running out of money, and they need more young people feeding into the pyramid scheme. But while they keep understanding that, they keep increasing these COLAs. And then they tell us, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? 2031, we're going to have to reduce payouts to 80%. Oh, yeah, by the way, we're going to keep on giving these COLA increases. And it seems like a political scheme. These people who are receiving Social Security, they're voters. So they already know. If we cut off COLA, like if you stop giving payout increases for the next 5, 10 years, it could subsidize some as you wait for birth rates to increase more to subsidize the bottom of the scheme. But no, you're going to keep giving out 3%, like last year was 2.5 this year. Now it's going up to 3.1%. And they're saying inflation ain't going up, but the COLAs are supposed to be matching the cost of inflation. Well, if it's gone up 0.6% from last year, what that tells me is that you're emitting. See, who cares what these reports say? I look at Social Security COLAs. Social Security COLAs actually show me the real deal. The government knows inflation is actual if I'm seeing COLA increases are actual. So that means the government's acknowledging by giving a 0.6% increase in COLA that inflation is going up because they have to match an inflation cost of living. So that itself already says you're emitting inflation's up. So stop telling me inflation's going down. It's going up. That's why you're giving more COLA. That's one thing. The other thing is you're telling us we ain't got no money by 2031 or we have to reduce payouts. Well, then why you keep on giving COLAs? Stop giving COLAs. And then we'll have some more money, a couple more years to wait for birth increases to pay the bottom of the scheme. So this is why I say this is all just a scheme, because if any administration cut COLAs, those are the voters. These older people, they're the ones that actually go out and vote. You cut it off, they're not voting for you. So it's just a political scheme. So that's why it's all just, these are all these inner spectrums of this propaganda. It's like, how do we know what numbers are cooked or not? But I see these COLA numbers going up, which means that must be real to somebody, because you just don't arbitrarily raise cost of living by 0.6% because inflation's going down. That's not real. Welcome, Iron Man. Welcome back. And Tommy Boy said, yeah, I was wrapped up in hundreds from the bank. They keep those hundreds wrapped tight. It was hot off the streets, hot off the press.
Yeah, no, Cloud said, is there poop on it, Tom? It might be another test. And then Tommy said, no, I turned it into the attendant. It was in a veteran affairs bag.
Oh, look at that. He passed the test. But would you have turned it in if it wasn't in a veteran's bag? If it was just wrapped up in a rubber band?
Yeah, because I have a lot of bands in my pocket.
What they call that, rubber band man?
Yeah, the rubber band man.
I'll be right back. I gotta use the bathroom again.
Good guy Patrick 885 says, Tommy boy, probably from a dealer. Regular people don't walk around with so much cash and doesn't watch for it constantly. Then he said, yeah, it was wrapped hundreds from the bank. So how do you know there's $4,000, Tommy? Did you break the wrap, the seal part? Or maybe I'm thinking of a different kind of wrap. Or I guess the wraps are probably labeled. Never mind. I was thinking of a different kind. Yeah, I mean, it could be from some dealer who is purposely using a veteran's bag that they got from Goodwill, or maybe they, could have been accidental or on purpose. That's what I would do, just to get people off my scent if I did drop it. It is interesting if there's no form of ID or in there or anything either. That's another thing. Yeah, it's not every day people find duffel bags full of cash. I do remember there was it hit the news. This family they were driving, and it was along some interstate, and they saw a big black trash bag on the side of the road, and they pulled over to go pick it up because they were just trying to be good citizens. They were gonna pick up this black trash bag, throw it in the back of their car, and just take it to the trash. Well, when they did that, they noticed, the bag was torn a little bit, and apparently there was, I can't remember how many millions in this black garbage bag full of money. So they alerted the authorities. They didn't take it for themselves, and that's probably smart too, because I'm sure a bank was just robbed, and whoever used that cash would have been guilty of the charges. Or maybe that couple did rob the bank, and then they just gave the story that, we found this bag, just so they could get some kind of benefit from it. That's another smart thing to do. But smart people like that usually aren't robbing banks. So anyway, the possibility is endless. So just so everybody knows, next time you're out driving about and you see a big black trash bag on the side of the road, you need to pick it up and put it in the back of your car. I don't care how bad it smells. I don't care how nasty or juicy it looks. You need to put it in the back of your car. Put it on your kids' laps if you have to. Yeah, I mean, that's just...
You got to do the right thing.
Yeah, I think that's the right thing. Even if you have to leave your kid there, leave one of your kids there at the site just as collateral. You got more kids to spare. So you put the trash bag where that kid was in the back seat. But anything's possible if you believe.
I feel like I just jumped in the middle of something.
I was just rambling about big black bags.
That reminds me, I had a Rottweiler who passed, but one day I was out there playing basketball at this local park. I think a colleague was with me, and I had him tied up to a tree while I was playing.
Me or the dog?
The dog. You were there. And somebody called Animal Patrol because they thought it was the dog, even though I did have the dog there. But what they ended up going to, the other tree, it was a big black garbage bag. I don't know if you remember.
If I remember right,
or did I have the dog?
No, so what happened, you had the dog put on a tree with a leash.
Yeah.
And then somebody called Animal Control. Animal Control showed up, and they were asking why your dog is tied to a tree, and you're like, because it's supposed to be on a leash. So you're like, yeah. Anyway, and then they were like, oh, huh. Well, we got a call that, somebody thought that there's a trash bag tied to the tree. So they were trying to like backpedal because they thought, it looked like discrimination.
I guess I can't remember. And then it's stupid because it's like, so then why are you here for a garbage bag?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's when you said the big black garbage bag. That's the only thing I can think of outside of picking up leaves in the yard.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
Got the retractor in the house.
Yeah, I know.
Every single message got retracted. But we got to hear a hard screen.
Yeah, it's still on the screen, so I'll read it off the screen.
I can scroll up if I need to. Yeah, you can't get, you can work for the CIA all you want, Tommy boy. But we got the hard screen.
Yeah, we got DHS on our side.
Yeah.
So he said, hold on, where is he? Yeah, I probably would have turned it in regardless. I'm doing well enough, and I know it was $4,000 because there was 4 stacks of 1,000s wrapped bills, or 1,000 wrapped bills. So
wow, that was intrusive.
And they said I didn't go digging through the bag; it felt weird. And then he said, I just saw it push the money back in. I just saw it push them in. So you quickly pushed it back in. It's good. And pushed the money. Yeah, and for all I know, somebody was waiting for someone to steal it. I don't know. Never had anything like that happen before. Iron Man said the attendant stole it. Yeah, that's like probably 2 paychecks worth of money right there. Tommy said, nah, she didn't know I zipped it up and told her it was lost and found. Well, I'm sure she opened it to see if there was any ID in there. And you know what she saw.
Yeah, it's almost like, when I see a wallet, I always return it because, more than money, the worst trauma that I hate, I guess it ain't the worst trauma, but it is a top trauma. I don't want to go get a new driver's license, social security number, all these credit cards, all that, and I don't wish that on maybe on my worst enemy, but not my second to worst enemy. And so I always return the wallets back, but I already know if there's any money in there, those people at Walmart or Publix or wherever you're going, yeah, that money ain't gonna be there. But they'll leave your IDs and your cards and all that.
What about Albertsons?
Yeah, Albertsons, Toys R Us.
Lee and Dad's.
Yeah, Ben and Jerry's ice cream.
Joe and Skimpy's.
Yeah, Epstein. But yeah, no, but yeah, I never experienced finding like that kind of cash. But I do have a friend. He always would call me and he's like, "Hey, bro, I just found $20 on the ground. I feel blessed." And I was like, your blessing came at somebody else's cost.
So somebody got cursed.
Yeah, somebody else is having a bad day. And then, sometimes you say, "Bro, I just found $100. I was like, yeah, but somebody just lost $100. Where's the happiness in that? Well, of course, some people, you call it what it is. People take money, lose money and all that. But it's just those things. It's like one person's blessing is the other person's nightmare.
Yeah. There's no such thing as a free dinner.
Well, do we really live in a zero-sum game where it's like if I lose, that means somebody else has gained? Or can there be some equality in that? I don't know. But it sure feels like it in our system. It's zero-sum. I lose and somebody else gains. Or I gain and somebody else loses. Now, of course, printing money, that deviates all of that. But
I feel like the patriarchy always wins.
Well, it's just a philosophical question. Do you consider somebody else's loss your blessing? Somebody else's suffering is your happiness. Is that genuine?
Yeah, that's why we go hunting.
Well, yeah, of course.
You shoot a deer in the mouth.
Yeah.
And it brings joy to us, to him.
But there's that other question, like, is there levels to that? Yeah, like within our own human species, should we have equality in the such of suffering? Of course, if you don't believe in that, some people believe animals are equal, like deers are just as equitable in rights as humans. Like there should be animal rights. And that's a whole nother question, but assuming that you don't take that presupposition and you understand that humans may be a higher level species, should we have equitable hope and goodwill for our own? Or do you say, I win, they lose, or I lose, they win? Is our mentality really a zero-sum game?
Yeah, it's interesting. And I was just reading The Selfish Gene by Richard Dawkins.
Mm.
And he makes a lot of good points in there. We are no different than our ancestors, the animals that we see before us. We're all a bunch of vehicles for our genes. Our genes are just driving us like vehicles. And it's interesting to think about all this stuff because, it's humans eating other humans is bad, but we'll eat other species all day. And other animals, most animals anyway, feel the same way. They won't usually eat their own species, but they'll eat other species. So that it's just a weird phenomenon.
Well, I think it's natural. I think we all can identify with our own kind, and then you always feel the other kinds are threats. So you have to do something about that.
It's a form of altruism. Like you will even sacrifice for your own kind. You wouldn't sacrifice. Well, I'll just say this, and I'll have to use some caveats. But you wouldn't sacrifice for a deer. Like nobody's going to jump in front of a bullet for a deer. But they would for another human being, because we have to preserve, like our genes, our human genes, are trying to preserve this human species. So I will die for my friends. This altruistic, selfless act is still selfish because it's for the better of this gene. It's this gene pool, the human gene. The deer genes will do the same thing for the deers, and the frog genes will do the same thing for the frogs. All these genes are, they're for the genes that relate to the other genes. We relate more than we do with, me and you relate more than I relate with a frog, and vice versa.
Yeah, but then you see those really weird things. Like, that you see that it's obvious. Kinds have a respect for their kind, and I think it's just natural. Everything else, I don't know. At least there's a level of unknownness, so it causes to say that could be a threat. There's a level of knownness within your kind, so you can say, well, I can kind of guess this. But then you see the things like there's a general altruism too. Like if you see a dog on the road, you have this proclivity to stop. You have this proclivity, like there's a generalness of life. Like there's something like we preserve as an altruism of life. So we're just not out just to kill. Now some people maybe it's like I'm gonna just kill everything.
Yeah, I was gonna say sometimes it is a dog eat dog world.
Yeah, but
shout
those
out to the dog eat dog.
I'd say those are the exceptions to the rules. Like
double G.
normal people, they have this construct that life is precious regardless. Now there's levels of value of that, of course, like your kinds, but there's just something about that. And then there's radical versions of that, like equality. Like, no, all kinds are equal as kinds. Like, I'm going to stand up for whale rights or something like that. But, yeah, I think it's interesting because there is still something about life. But we see that. I don't know if animals see it like that. Like, we may try to be cautious about life in general. Like, I'm just not going to run over a dog. I may even try to stop if I see like a turtle or something, or
there's been
squirrel or something.
There's been stories in the news where like a bear will rescue a dog or something, or a fox will rescue a squirrel or something. Like there's some animals will do it. And then you see human activists out there who, in their genes, which Dawkins calls us robots, which he uses that word loosely, but but that's what he sees us as. And I would actually say I don't really disagree with that, but we're basically cars. We're vehicles for the genes. The genes are the real drivers of our vehicles. And those genes, those human beings who are trying to look out for the better of all animals, vegetarians and vegans and stuff, those genes are driving their bodies to do that. Because in their genes, however, their parents' genes came together and formulated this mixture to create this gene, which grew up and started realizing that opening up to every species is the best way to survive. So it's really just about survival again. And then, as he says, copying. That's really it, survival and copying.
Yeah, he also makes the construct that memes are another function of the transference of genes also, because of language being such a propagator for these things. But yeah, you get into the semantics of it and what are the motivations of why he's saying those things is one thing. But on the surface value, yeah, that's why I think it's interesting. There's levels to that. And I think when we see people deconstruct from those levels, that's when we say, oh, that's pathological. Like if you have no value for general life, like zero, well, then we'll say, oh, that's a psychopath. Like, that's something, that's a problem. Like you're out here looking for something to kill. You're actually on the opposite spectrum. It's one thing to say, I don't care. It's another thing to say, I just want to kill everything. And that's like hyper-predator. And that's why people are afraid of those pathologies, that you can just feel this is a predator. They're just looking to kill something. But that I just don't know how much it spreads. Like, yeah, there might be those offshoots, the bear doing something.
Yeah, genes have they don't copy very well. So yeah, you'll have these. We wouldn't call them defective genes, but you have these mutations or abnormality genes, and that is actually how we evolved to this point right now. Is the abnormalities and the mutations of genes is how we got to where we are today, from chimps, from dogs, from fish, from the amoeba and all that. It's the mutations that actually further the evolutionary process. So it wouldn't be that the psychopaths are bad as far as that's concerned, but yeah, the fact that they're taking out their own species, it could be seen as a defective gene. It's not looking for the preservation. Well, he actually calls it usually genes are altruistic, but then there's some genes who are actually not, and it's those selfish genes who take advantage of all the altruistic ones. So yeah, these selfish psychopathic genes, for example, will take advantage of all the altruistic genes, and they'll prey on their weaknesses. And unfortunately, it will keep on winning, because all the altruistic genes will just willingly give up their life for the better of the species, while the selfish gene is just taking it all.
But I think what happens is once it becomes like anything, and once a commonality, it's just like propaganda. Once a commonality becomes foundational, what happens is everybody points something out and say, this is the enemy. And so let's say it happens enough. What happens is, like today, we've now coined this enemy. We coined them, and we make colloquial terms and ideas about things like psychopaths. They're bad. So we'll make this idea. All of us who are altruistic, we can't be to these people. So we demonize it. We make media. We make propaganda. We do things to say, be warned. There's these people you cannot be kind to, because these people, they will kill you. They will manipulate you. They are a threat. They're not like you. It's almost like you're saying they are an animal. They're a different kind, because it's become too common. So it only can go so far before they get ostracized.
Yeah, that's true, but they always come out on top. They always win because most genes are altruistic.
But I think it only can go so far before, though. That's why psychopaths have to jump. Like, you only can do so much in a city before everybody knows you as that, and then nobody's helping you, and now you have to go to another place and another place and another place. You can't do it forever in one place, because you might be able to manipulate one or two, but you can't manipulate 1,000 or 2,000 or 10,000. And eventually, yeah, you're going to get wiped out. But in the beginning stages, yeah, you probably have a very strong upper hand.
Yeah, I would definitely call it defective, because it doesn't better. It's not like those genes are replicating very much. So they if they do care about replicating, their kids aren't very well off, and they're more interested in killing than replicating, and that would be seen as defective, because according to Dawkins and many others, replication is the key to the survival.
Well, I would think that's just common sense. You kill off. If I only have one bag, one wallet, or one computer, That's the end of the road.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, in that form, it would be seen as defective. But again, we can't treat defective genes as bad, or in a religious term, evil or bad, because I mean, yeah, we can stay away from them, but again, we owe, in an evolutionary sense, we owe what we are today to those defective genes, to those mutants, because we ourselves are products of mutants. Otherwise, we would have just stayed as amoebas.
Yeah, that just adds to the structure. If you accept the evolutionary construct, you have to believe that a predator nature is still a part of a normality. And that's a tough pill to swallow, because, why are you mad at these pedophiles? They're just choosing to replicate with people that you just think they shouldn't be replicating with. But in their mind...
Well, no, it's because they're trying to replicate with people that can't replicate.
Well, if they're 14...
Like, what are you doing?
If they're 14, because like Megan Kelly said, Epstein wasn't into 8 years old. He was like 13, 14, 15, barely legal. I was like, that ain't barely legal.
Yeah.
That's illegal.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. If even like that, they can replicate.
Yeah, but I think... when you say pedophiles, what usually comes to mind is, again, pre-pubescent. Like, you can't even have kids yet. But
the common notion that most people hear is like, if you say a pedophile, and there's words for each age group, but the common notion people think is anybody under 18.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, they can replicate 14, 15, and you got this 50-year-old Epstein out there. They're just choosing that. And who are you, like Dawkins, who are you to say pedophilia in that sense, looking for illegal ages? That's just them trying to replicate.
Well, he doesn't cover that topic specifically, but and I haven't finished the book, but if I had to answer for him, play Dawkins' advocate, I would say what's wrong with an 85-year-old getting with a 14-year-old is that this 85-year-old has had his whole life to replicate, and he's now taking some of the what would the I don't even know.
Yeah, but actually,
he's taking people off the market so young people, let's say two 18-year-olds. Let's make it more simple. An 87-year-old trying to get with
a 14-year-old.
An 18-year-old. An 18-year-old girl still seems weird to people, and they'll be like, that's disgusting.
Right.
Stay away from that. An 87-year-old who's trying to get with an 18-year-old legal girl.
Right.
It still seems disgusting to people because it's like you're taking somebody off the market who just started life. Why don't you give that 18-year-old girl to another 18-year-old boy?
Right.
Now they can, replicate as much as they can. You're 87. You had your chance. And you can still replicate with other 87-year-old. Well, you can't now. You can't do that. But you had your time, and we don't know if your genes are still good anymore at this point. So, if we're going to do this right, there is a window.
Well, I would say if Dawkins wants to be consistent, I would say the best benefactor would be a rich old man getting with a young girl, because when he dies, which will be very soon, she will be left with plentiful resources to go find a young man after he dies.
But the statistics show that women who have a lot of money don't usually go try to find men because
if they're young, they're going to be one of those playgirls.
Yeah, so they're not really.
But they're going to reproduce.
But there's no aim. It's just
right now. It's just free
because genes try to replicate with the best genes, like the ones that see fit that will carry our gene farther. So you don't want a short. But
think about it:
someone with short genes, or
if an 18-year-old got with an 18-year-old, their life is going to be very difficult. They're barely having any money. They're going to have all these problems, and their children are going to suffer. They might be in a very impoverished condition. It's not going to be very optimal for society. So if you're talking about optimization for society, giving resources to younger generations would be optimal than having a bunch of impoverished, struggling children and impoverished, struggling families.
What you would want to do is, if you're an old man who's rich and you're about to die, what you would want to do, ideally, and I'm just going on a limb here.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. If Dawkins would say that'd be an interesting. But this is the problem with evolution.
Well, what you would want to do, as this old man is you would want to give it to a good-looking, with very good genes, very smart, good-looking, tall, young man, 18-year-old man. You'd give all that money to him. That way, all the women would flock to him because of everything. He's got the looks, the money, the height, all of it. And then you'd know that would actually benefit our species entirely because that man, he's smart, so he's going to put his kids through school or whatever, not school, but I mean, he's going to make sure they're educated, however means necessary. And, as an 87-year-old, maybe you even have a hand in raising this boy to do what you did to be successful.
Yeah, and I would say that's probably how things have worked for years. You always pass on your inheritance to your family. But with the older generations, what we're finding is, like, a big reason, one reason, we have a housing shortage. What's been happening for decades, for generations? People would buy a house, like a family in the 50s, they would buy a house. And then when they get old, this big house that they needed for a family got too big for just them and their wife. So what they had to do was sell it and get a smaller home. Well, when they sell this home now goes to the next generation of people that need a bigger home. And so, this one house transitions from family to family and family because an old person doesn't need a big house. But a lot of these older generations now, like some of these, like a lot of the boomers and people like that, they're not selling their house. They have too much equity. And they're also saying, we're not going to leave anything for our children. We're going to spend it all. So now this idea of passing down this inheritance that would be good for the future generation, plus house transference to future generation, young families, are not happening. So, yeah, if that was the case, that'd be true. Like, give it to this young man, give it to this. This would be beneficial for society. But it's actually not happening. It's the opposite. They're not leaving their inheritance for their kids, and they're not selling their house for young families. So that's also creating a housing shortage. So none of it's happening. And I was like, well, nobody cares.
Yeah, in a world that seems futile, I guess genes, all of our genes are going to have to figure out what to do.
Yeah, let's talk to the genes. Shout out to the genes.
Yeah, well, we know that, Sweeney Todd or whatever her name is, Taylor Sweeney, has good genes. That girl in that Ford commercial.
that Eagle Jeans commercial.
Yeah, she's got good genes.
Yeah.
Well, I saw Iron Man was making some good jokes.
You go ahead and read the comments.
Those. Yeah. CP the Boss Hog says, I ain't giving no money back, ever. You fools tripping. Well.
Like they say, you got to make that choice. One man's suffering is another man's blessing, I guess.
Yeah, I've seen enough of these young kids out there who are they're making they'll like leave their bike and you get on it, like someone will try to steal their bike and they go to sit on it and the seat just goes all the way down, the pole goes up your butt.
Yeah, I've seen the other one where somebody put an airbag in it.
Oh yeah.
Or they tied it up with they have this like wireless electrical thing tied to the steering the handlebars.
And you can't let go if it's electric. You're done.
Yeah, they fall over and then they let go. But yeah, I mean, I've seen that. And also people leave packages out in their front door, but it's a big glitter bomb.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah. It's like, if you see a purse or a bag, that happens too. You open the purse and all of a sudden it just blows up in your face, like all this, whatever it is, paint, confetti. Yeah. So that is one thing. If you just see 10 grand laying around,
I guess it's a gamble.
Yeah, I know. You probably. Well, I mean,
it might be worth the gamble, right?
Yeah, the risk to reward ratio is off the charts. So, but technically, you're not stealing it. Just like, well, 10 grand laying on the sidewalk. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Iron Man says, let's talk about the extermination of the small hats, part 2.
Well, you have to feed that off. There's a lot there. That's a very compressed statement. Why don't you decompress that for us, Mr. Iron Man?
Yeah, when you say small hats, I'm thinking of like Laurel and Hardy.
That's definitely not me. I got this big old hat.
Yeah, me neither. I got these big old tires.
I'm off camera.
There's while the host is getting undressed, there's those little tiny top hats that Laurel and Hardy wear.
There's a small hat.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, so I guess I thought when I was reading that, I thought he was like, let's talk about buttered sausages. That's what I thought he was going to do.
And this hat feels weird.
Yeah, it looks weird too.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like you got it from the Gap.
Yeah, I know.
Anyways, CP the Boss Hog says, although I did find a guy's driver's license once and took it to his house because he didn't live far, and he actually got mad because I showed up at his door unannounced. I didn't think he liked black people. Oh, well, probably not. There's a lot of those people.
Yeah, I know.
I guess next time the moral of the story is just keep it.
Yeah, it's tough. I'd be more than happy if anybody brought my wallet back. Because, man, I'm telling you, I've gone through that many times.
It's like, wait, no, you're Chinese. Get off my porch.
Yeah,
it's like I got your money.
I'd actually give you
hey,
something.
You know what? Keep the $10,000. Because you're Chinese, you can just keep it.
I'd give them something. It's like, man, you helped me from not getting new driver's license, cards, all this stuff is like, that's worth something. My neglectance deserves a reward.
Yeah, but see, then you just you fill their stupid little stereotype though. If you're a Chinese man or Hispanic or black or whatever, and you take the money instead, then they're gonna say the other thing. Oh yeah, see what they did? You see that? Oh. It's like, oh yeah. Well, if I try to give it back, you do it anyway, so it's a lose-lose. Maybe the best thing is, yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't really know. Because, yeah, if you get caught with $10,000 in your pocket and someone else's driver license.
Well, yeah, see, money's
over.
Money's one thing. Again, to me, I don't keep all that cash, so that's irrelevant. But I'm telling you, for me, the stress is really all these cards. It's like it's such a task to get all these new cards, and I have to cancel it, everything. And, yeah. Man, I am so grateful if anybody returns that. Man, that is an awful thing to have to go through.
What's awful for me a lot of times is carrying all the bands in my pocket.
Yeah, I know. Rich people like you and your yachts and your children.
Well, it actually weighs my pants down.
Right.
All the bands. I'm like, man. I actually... Oh, I was going to bring some bands. I didn't bring any.
Next time you can bring those stacks.
Yeah.
And you can put them from the ceiling to the floor.
No, not stacks. They're just bands, like rubber bands.
Oh.
I just have a handful of them because my son likes those rubber band guns.
Oh.
And he loads them up. But, yeah. Anyway.
Man, this hat feels weird. It feels strange.
Yeah, it looks weird. It's like you work for... Maybe if you put it on right. No, that one looks...
Look at this. It's got like little ears.
Somebody come and look at this. Yeah, that does look like some kind of flurry. Yeah. What do they call those? Flurries?
I know. I'm going back.
Just cut those ears off.
Go back to China. Back to the Genghis Khan, the Mongolians.
Yeah, see, that one does look Mongolian.
Yeah, I'm going back to Mongolia. Back to Genghis.
Let's talk about buttered sausages.
Iron Man keeps saying in Palestine, jewelers love suffering. See, these are compressed statements. They feel encrypted. You're going to have to uncompress and decrypt these things.
You know, he went to Jared's. That's what he's talking about.
There's a kiss with K or something.
Yeah, it's K Jewelers.
Yeah.
Every kiss begins with K.
There it is.
But... so does Kmart. And look what they didn't go very far. So.
Well, one thing Iron Man did give us confirmation. He says, you guys are safe.
Good.
I feel safe.
Me too.
I actually feel better with this hat on. This hat makes me feel safe.
Yeah, me too. That's why I said I always wear protection, no matter where I'm at. I'm wearing protection right now. I'm always protected. You
know, and the reason why, and I talked about it earlier, I just mentioned it, but I also mentioned it in the live, that people, the reason why I say people, you know, maybe they're waking up this morning in people's yards with a condom in their butt. The only reason why I say that, I read 3 articles this morning, where people were wondering why there was a used condom stuck in their butt. And, you know, it happens. It's whatever. People, you know, you never know what's happening on New Year's. But nobody's writing articles about this. And this is why I said, is this AI? I mean, this is so random, and
You think AI woke up with a condom?
well,
in
they're
his butt?
constant. It's like 3 of them, and it's like, oh, are you trying to propagate here? Like, you want to make normality to? It should be normal. It's no big deal that you wake up with a condom in your butt in somebody's yard.
I wonder if some clankers woke up like that too.
I don't know, but I saw 3 articles today, and I was like, man, that is so weird. That's why I was actually saying it. It was stuck in my head. Such a random thing.
I showed a little clip a few weeks ago of a bird with a condom hanging out of its butt.
Yeah, but see, that's fine. They're scavengers. They're finding whatever they can to make their nests.
Yeah, they must be real desperate.
They don't care.
Desperate housewives.
Bringing it home for the goods.
Yeah, they are.
But
They didn't even make it home.
it just made me think, what's going to happen in 2026? I mean, if these are AI articles and we're just getting started, what's going to be else that is going to be just consistently propagating? Because that you could write anything you want. But who's... Yeah, I guess the better question, why am I reading that? Well, it was on my feed, so I guess that's why I was reading on my news feed. But, which then I went to that article, which then had a link to another article. And then that article had a link to another one.
BirdsRUs.com.
No, with people waking up with condoms stuck in their butt. Like they pulled it out of their butt. And I was like, this is so random. I just thought it was strange.
Well, people are waking up pregnant. With
I mean,
miracles.
back in the day, I've woke up in a yard. I didn't have no condom in my butt. But, I mean, that's fine. That happens. I mean, you black out. You don't know what's happening. You wake up in the yard and you're like, whatever.
You're taking a little roll in the hay at night.
It's whatever. But, man, if I woke up with a used condom in my butt and I pulled it out, man, that's a freak out.
Well, again, but not like, it's not like you have to worry if you're pregnant. So that'd be a bigger freak out if you had to worry, like, not only I might have diseases now, but I might actually be pregnant.
Yeah, if you're a female, but, I didn't.
Well, not if it's up your butt, but yeah, I mean, you don't know what they did elsewhere for a female.
I didn't really read too much in the article. I don't know if it's female or male. I just saw the title and saw scrolling down and I saw the next title. But yeah, if it was a female, I guess that would be. But what is the construct? Is like you're propagating epidemics?
Those kind of articles, I don't blame you for not reading it. It's too much for any one man to handle.
Yeah, well, anyways, if I find them again, I think I'm going to show them in the next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe then you can finally get that load off your chest.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I just think, it was AI actually writing that stuff, and I was like, well, this is going to be a fun year. I'm excited.
Yeah. We're starting off with a bang.
Yeah.
Gang, gang.
Because they can write as many as they want.
Gang, gang.
I'm waiting, man. I am waiting for AI to just flood the internet with massive amounts of articles. I mean, if it was like a DDoS,
it's already happened.
I'm talking about like a DDoS attack. Like you just
it's already done.
You just wake up and literally they drop so many articles that actually wipes out all the news that's going on, and you only see like 10 things because they literally dropped like 10,000 articles about just like 10 things, and it was so much that it wiped out the rest of the news. It's like a massive DDoS of articles. I'm waiting. That's going to be an interesting day.
Yeah, it's going to be D-Day.
Yeah. Anyways, what else is on the chats?
Iron Man says, I knew the guy in South Philly who found $1.2 million on the street.
Oh, wow. Now, that sounds like the Mossad.
Did he break bread with you?
Is that a honey pot?
Yeah, because you said you knew the guy, Iron Man. Did he actually share? Or did he? Because you obviously knew the guy and you knew what he found. So either he already spent it all and then told you about it, which then you'd have to question if he was telling the truth or not, unless he pulled up in some Bugatti or something. But, yeah. Did he break bread?
I don't know, $1.2 million. That's
a lot of bread.
Well, I mean, that's just a lot of physical substance. Like, that takes a lot of space.
Yeah, and not only that, you can't tell everybody that, because then what happens is people put bread on your head.
No, I mean, it's kind of weird. It's like if you find this suitcase and it's full of it's like, is there a scope like pointed here? It's like, who just? Oh, I just dropped my suitcase of $1.2 million.
Yeah, you're not holding it for a friend.
No, it's like if you like, how do you just forget that I dropped this suitcase? Because it isn't like a stack in your hand. It's too much money. Like you'd have to have a suitcase. How do you drop that?
Same way they drop bread on your head.
I don't know, maybe it was a bank robbery and they threw it out the window or something.
That's probably what it was.
Yeah.
Like that other time, there that garbage bag was found by that family. Seemed like that's what happened. But anyways, Iron Man says, "Yeah, no, the government blanks us over daily. Half these morons are government employees. Blank them."
Well, there's a lot. It's like which one of the governments or all the government?
He says half them. Half these morons. Half the morons are government employees. So, I guess 100% of the government employees are morons, but half of the ones he's talking about are government morons. I think I'm understanding that correctly.
Do some math here.
Yeah, I don't mean to make waves. Then Iron Man says, in Palestine, the jewelers love suffering. You already read that. And they said, you are nothing but farm animals to the jewelers. They hate you. They despise you. They want you dead. Probably. I mean, who else is feeding us these Hebrew National hot dogs that taste so good and all the bacon?
Yeah, but we don't have to isolate it just to a certain demographic. I mean, if we're
talking about jewelers.
Yeah, well, I'm saying you don't have to isolate just a demographic of people. I mean,
he's talking about in Palestine, Ohio.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying, when you look at the global scheme of things, you got all kinds of corporations that can like feed us food and put stuff in our drinks and all kinds of things that may not be ran by the Mossad or Israeli controlled entities. Now, a lot of them are, but I would say just those who are in power, and of course that includes the Israeli function. I think there's an agenda, but also, again, like I say, you can't have it in totality. I mean, it's just you got to accept the facts. You want reindustrialization, you can't wipe out population because then there's nobody to feed the reindustrial dream. You want to continue the scheme of taxation and you want to continue feeding the scheme of Social Security, you got to have new babies to feed the pyramid. If you just wipe us all out, there's not going to be nothing to feed the pyramid, and there's not going to be anything to feed the reindustrial dream. So you can't just wipe everything out.
Well, it's a slow fade. And I don't know if they're wiping everybody out, and they can still hate us.
Oh, yeah. No.
The jewelers in Palestine, Ohio, they could still hate everyone.
Sure.
But they still need us, like you're saying, but they don't need all of us.
No.
So they're slowly killing us off. They're leaving little doors open again, like we've talked about 1,000 times. There is a small path that leads to life.
But you can't have a small group of people to feed the pyramid. The pyramid's too big. You need a lot of babies.
Okay, so you're saying that the path to life is broad.
Well, like a pyramid.
Well, maybe it's really broad
because people think I'm putting up some sign, but the bottom of the pyramid is always bigger than the peak, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the peak are the ones getting paid out, but you need a lot of people paying in so that the payouts can continue.
I understand,
right.
But the very base of that pyramid may be this big compared to the rest of the population, which is a lot bigger, like let's say 100 times that size. So the base of the pyramid, that's all they need to keep feeding this pyramid.
Yeah, but the payouts are it's almost like the triangles invert now. It's inverted. The payouts are becoming larger than the ones contributing into the feed. So, like, that's what's happening in Social Security. They're paying out so much money because there's so many older retirees than younger people feeding the system.
Well, that's why they raised
So now it's
the
turning
age
into
of
like a squared pyramid.
But they already fixed that. So
How?
reverse Uno, They started raising the age of Social Security.
It doesn't matter. You can do anything you want. People are just going to stop. They're not going to be incentivized.
Well, we're going to keep replicating.
Well, it doesn't matter because you can only raise the age so much before you don't have enough population to even contribute to the increase of age. Like, you have to bring in new people.
And they are.
Not enough.
I think they are doing enough. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing it. Like, why would they make their bank accounts
That's
drain?
why I say it's paradoxical.
Yeah.
And not only that, you had the other thing. Like I say, if you want to do reindustrialization, you're not only feeding the scheme of the pyramid, you're also trying to encourage people to go work factories. And that has to be younger people. You need a lot of people who want to work factory jobs, not live a rich life, but be factory workers.
But they also know the reality of when AI is going to be taking, like, not just the stuff we're reading on the news and stuff like that in Google, but they actually know the reality,
So
the actual date.
Right. If that is true, that's why I keep saying, if that is true, then reindustrialization is all fake.
We already knew that, but you're also saying, why are they still pushing it? And it's only for a time. And it's for the times such as these.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what gets difficult. That's why I'm saying you read Trump's or the administration's 2026 November national security strategy. And when you read that, you hear the rhetoric of reindustrialization, focusing on the Western Hemisphere, the Trump corollary. We're going to focus on the Monroe Doctrine, which is segregating from the Bretton Woods agreements. We're going to focus on Western Hemisphere stuff. That's why they're focused on Venezuela, South America, North America, Canada, Mexico. And we're not going to be the global police of the world. We're going to have an Eastern Hemisphere and a Western Hemisphere, blah, blah, blah. Because we're going to focus on reindustrialization. That's what the whole scheme of this national security strategy is all about. But you got to have the babies. Without the babies, you're not getting that dream. And so if you don't produce enough babies, it's not just to feed the taxation and Social Security schema. It's also you can't feed the reindustrial schema. So you need a lot of babies that want to work factory jobs.
If we were planning to be here for another 50 years and all that, with no robots taking over nothing, but if you're planning on everything getting switched over very quickly, where robots are taking over jobs very quickly, then yeah, they're going to keep pushing this industrialization, but in reality not really making it a suitable environment for that, then it makes sense.
Right, that's why I'm trying to tell people.
And the paradox is really just showing that there's a pinpoint in time that both their agendas are. It seems they're both their seeming agendas are. There's a cross point which they're going to both collide.
And the only reason
that point in time is when they're going to when it's going to happen.
Right, and I know that's what we've been talking about. But that's what's weird is when you hear people, all these modern conservatives speaking today. Everybody is focusing on America first, make America great, focus on America. But the problem is that idea forces the idea of now we can reindustrialize, we can make American products. But that only happens if American people are having jobs to work it. But this seems paradoxical because if you're going to replace us with robots, then who cares about America first? You're not making anything. Robots are. So what I'm saying is there's a false narrative. Everybody's pushing out this idea, America first, make America great, all this stuff, focus on America. We're going to have manufacturing back here. But if the real agenda is to use automation and robotics, then this is all just a big scheme. And you need to understand that's not true. Reindustrialization is just propaganda until they can replace you with robots.
Mm-hmm.
But that's never being put out there. It's just saying reindustrialization is real. We need to focus on America. We need to get these immigrants out of here. It's America first because we need to get American jobs. But that's all a lie if you're just going to replace us with automation and robots.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm trying to say. You can't have it both. It's paradoxical.
Yeah, I know. And when the day that both agendas collide is the day that it's all going to be over. That's the day that they're going to release these T-1000s.
Yeah, I guess that's what we'll see. If the reindustrial dream is real, then you're going to have to fight against your stupid AI agenda. You're going to have to fight against the robotic agenda. you're going to have to put a halt on it because corporations, if they have free reign, they're going to go for the cheapest means of production with maximum output, which is going to be automation robots. But
if they ever told us that they are going to put a pause on AI and robotics, that's when they figured it out. They're at the peak now.
Right, there's something wrong. Like they can't fix it. There's a quandary they can't fix.
No, I was thinking that they already fixed it. They're there. They're at the top of the hill now, and now they're just waiting for everybody else to show up. And now they're telling us, look, guys, instead of getting electric vehicles, let's start riding horses again. Okay, I think there's something to the old way of life. You're going to see them just go way back in time. It's like, yeah, you know what? We should get away from technology for a while. Maybe we should turn off Facebook. Maybe we should turn off the TV and just read those books and spend more time with family. When you see the government's doing that, that's when you know.
If you're talking about that way radical stream, like getting straight Amish, yeah. But you're already hearing what you're saying, but in a slight way. Like everybody, like the governments of the world are trying to demonize social media. They're trying to put these restrictions for teenagers. They're trying to say we need to focus on education. It's at a failing point. They're always talking about all these kids and the younger generation, how they're having a hard time learning. So they're already pushing out a normality that we need to fix this technological dominion that's happening. And so what you're saying is already happening on a very small scale. It's not going back to Amish ways, but it is already saying we need to do something. But at the same time, the other side is saying, but we need to push this AI and automation full gas. That's what we're saying is this weird paradoxical function. You can't have both. Because if you let this automation run free, corporations going to say low cost, high production. People, high cost, low production. No. There's no incentive. And what I guess why I'm saying is because the narratives are being pushed as total opposite. They're telling you we're going to do reindustrialization.
Yeah, when they actually start doing it, that's when you know they actually mean it.
Yeah,
right now, they're not actually doing it.
Well, that's why I thought when I was showing you that article with China, they're doing something. That's why I thought it was interesting. They're actually really implementing laws. Mm-hmm. But America is definitely not doing that.
Yeah, our nation is honoring reindustrialization with their lips, but their heart is far from it. And they can learn a thing or two from China, who is actually practicing what they're preaching.
Well, yeah, they see it and they're doing it. Yeah, but that's why I think it's interesting. There is this idea of a global cabal, I think, is slowly coming to an end in people's. They're going to have to realize that's not the case. I think it's hard to emphasize the idea of a global cabal. Man, I see. I can't read it all, but Iron Man seems like he's blowing it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna go down it. Let's see.
Did you decompress at all, Mr. Iron Man?
Iron Man said, "Last time I won, they gave me a roast beef on a hard roll." I have my genes to my. I think he meant I gave my genes to my cousin. It was a transfer of genes. Yeah, so he passed his genes on to his cousin.
That's good.
Nice.
Nice.
And then he said, my genes went from a 46 to a 33 after I lost 120 pounds 10 years ago.
Thank you, Jenny Craig.
Yeah. Very nice, very nice.
Very nice.
And then he said, someone's taking my jeweler's messages down as we speak.
Well, I see him on here.
Yeah, I see him too. I'm still reading them. Whatever we're allowed to read, I guess. Maybe YouTube is flagging stuff.
No. I mean, I can see it there, and there is flooded.
Yeah, but maybe it's not even making it up. Like he's putting it up, and YouTube's just not even.
Well, maybe if you're putting it like back to back to back, YouTube might think that's spam. Like if it's just like the same words over and over again.
Yeah, I don't know why. If you're saying jewelers, you're not saying anything else. You're saying jewelers. I don't know why YouTube would.
Well, if you say the same thing over, like you make like little things and you go boom, 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 there might be a bot that says if you do 10 back-to-back messages, they might see that as spam.
It's
just kind of like a DDoS attack. You remember how, I forgot the guy.
Yeah, but it let him do it. It let the DDoS guy do it.
Yeah, that is true.
That didn't stop him.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I guess if you really want to test it, you could say something about Islam or something and see what it does. That might be YouTube's new religion. I haven't checked, but it seems like that's where a lot of these big guys are going. They're changing over from their old ancient gods from WHO, the acronym, to maybe Allah. Maybe that's their new religion. And maybe we'll get flagged now for even just saying that, using their new god's name in vain.
I know no matter what, it's still hard to use the phrase, I can say it's CIA, but when I type it in a post, it always gets shadow banned. Like when I titled these posts for the videos, if I put CIA in the post, it always gets shadow banned. So they still represent the CIA, regardless. And it's not just YouTube. Everybody doesn't like using the constructs of CIA for whatever reason.
Yeah, they still represent. They rep their set. Where were we? Iron Man says I already read that. Lourdes Ravelo.
You tried.
Lourdes Ravio.
Lord of Ravioli. You know, I miss Balzania.
Srav.
I like saying that.
Desrav. Desravlo. I don't know. Anyways, they said, Happy New Year, guys. It looks like a female from the picture.
Happy New Year's.
Yeah, she said, Happy New Year, guys. Happy New Year's to you, too. I know we're a little late arriving to that comment, but I don't think we've ever had her on before either, so.
Oh, welcome in.
Oh. My shoulders, man. Holy moly guacamole. Iron Man says 16 is the age of consent.
I know in some states. Yeah, I think you can get married at 16.
That's good to know.
Right? I think there are some states still like Arkansas or Mississippi or places where they can get married.
You know,
but I think you still need parent consent.
Even if I knew that information,
you wouldn't say it.
No, yeah. It's like, oh yeah, you know, in Texas, 14 is the age of consent. Yeah, you know, in
well, it was
Ohio. If I knew that stuff.
Whenever Megyn Kelly was saying that barely legal stuff,
yeah, see, she might know.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This is where I heard they were saying, there's some states out there, and I was like, this just, I don't even know why this conversation's being permeated right now. Like, who's defending Epstein?
Megyn R. Kelly.
Yeah. Anyways, I think she said there's like some states out there.
Yeah, I would definitely check her computer. Iron Man says, oh, never mind. He says the same thing over again. I'll just skip those. Yeah, and YouTube is showing each one of those, so they're not taking it down. And then there's another one. It looks like another new girl. Looks like, I don't know if the picture is legitimate or not. It looks like AI, but it says, and then I rock.
Welcome.
And I'm just going to call her a she because that's what it looks like on the picture. But she said, I like that.
I like it too.
And then it said matching at cute.
I like it as well.
Yeah, we already read that from Iron Man. Up on your big board. He said they're not showing up on our big board. The one on the screen? I mean, all of these are on the big board, I've seen anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. If they aren't, just keep trying, I guess.
Yeah, just put it back in.
Yeah.
Put it in the honey pot. He said, it's BS. My AI woke up with me in it. Talking about the people waking up with condoms. He said his AI woke up with him in it.
You have an AI, Mr. Iron Man? What's its name? Is it anything like Alice used to be?
And what's its age?
YouTube
bot said UFO.
Shout out to Akash Patel.
And 3iatlas.com.
Or
.org. Huh?
And it's honeypot.
Oh, yeah. Honeypot.com. Iron Man says AI got a virtual boner.
Yeah, maybe that was the case. Maybe that's what happened. It sure seemed like it to me with all those posts, but they weren't posts. They were literally articles. So I don't know.
Yeah. And then Iraq said Elon will do it.
Yeah, maybe after he made like that adult version on Grok where you could create like the anime girlfriend thing. Yeah, maybe Grok's out there just flooding the web with people waking up with condoms in their butt.
You remember when Mark Zuckerberg was presenting his Meta goggles, and he's like, "Yeah, and look, you can customize your avatars."
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna go there, but it's fun. So yeah, I think even the news lady was like, "Ooh, good times."
Yeah,
good times.
I'm thinking back. That was a while ago. Yeah, it was on CBS News. Yeah, they were all on there, and I was like, "Wow, this is real."
It's good television.
Proprietary.
Iron Man says no sharing, or was 10 years later he went broke in a month. Talking about the guy who found $1 million, was it
1.2?
Yeah, 1.2.
Man, that's just a lot of cash.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying not just in numbers. I'm just thinking in substance. It's like that's a lot of material.
It's a lot of substance.
Like I just don't know how you lose that without knowing I lost it.
Yeah, I don't know how you smoke it. How you smoke $1.2 million. Iron Man says the Bolsheviks defeated the Soviet Union with a boxcar full of gold and a 100 guys. I'm going to have to take your word for that, Iron Man.
Yeah, I can't. That doesn't ring a bell, but maybe there's something to that. Maybe you can post that into Discord.
Yeah.
I mean, if that actually is what defeated the Soviets, like that's really interesting. That one thing collapsed the
100
empire.
things. It was a boxcar full of gold and 100 guys.
Inside of one car?
I guess. I don't know if they're inside. He just said a boxcar full of gold and 100 guys. And then Iraq. Oh, she says her name is Sue Zero.
Oh, hey, Sue Zero.
Or Sue O. I'm not. You'll have to correct me again. Maybe that's a typo, but for now, I'll call you Sue O. I think it's an O. Sue O says it's proven negative to children, and that's what they're learning on these days. There has to be a separating of this. Thoughts?
It's proven negative. What is being proved negative to children?
Yeah, we're way out of context with this.
Yeah.
We're arriving to these comments kind of late, so just refresh our memory.
Yeah, what are you referring to being proving negative to children? And I guess she said she's been watching for a while. She sees the clips, peeps the page, wanted to come straight to the source. Well, hopefully you've been enjoying it. This is more of a lighter one. You know, usually we have more context, but I already know this was going to be a little slow. People are waking up with condoms in their butts and stuff like that, and still having the New Year's in their bloodstream. So, but next week, the journey continues.
If they were smart, the New Year's would only stay in their bloodstream for like a few days.
But usually people wake up and it's like, I got to just feed it again so I can get this hangover. You know, the best way to fix a hangover is just to drink more. And say, whatever you were drinking, just get back in there. So now it's gone. Now you just sloshed again.
You got to stay. You got to stay the course if you're going to be the horse.
You got to drink it to wink it.
Yeah. Yep. You got to gloat it to goat it.
You got to float it to boat it.
Yep. Iron Man says the ADL made the little juicy box and the word JOOO anti-Semitic, and they banned me from Facebook for a month.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. That's interesting. I mean, I post things. I don't say the word Jew per se on my post because I know that's sensitive, but I use the word Israel a lot. And that seems to never have a problem. But yeah, I never tried just saying the Jews. I usually say Israel or the state of Israel, nation of Israel or something when I want to infer a connotation that deals with anything in that nature. But maybe that's what triggered them.
YouTube bot says daycare center scams. I think maybe he's answering for Sue O.
Yeah, I'm not been negative for children for a while. Were we talking about daycare scams?
I don't remember.
Well, we've made videos how they are scams. Well, they can be. I guess not all of them. Well, I guess it depends. Like if you take the idea of the nuclear family, the idea of this whole idea that that's the necessity of raising more productive children is having this nuclear family, this centralized family, then yeah, any kind of daycare stuff would also ostracize that inner relationship with the children because, of course, they're spending more time with people outside of their family, so they would have less of a triggered response because clearly they're not seeing their parents enough. But that's also replicative of what's being instructed in the family, right? I use the example of a dog. Like I love dogs. I've been having dogs for a long time. But what I notice is, there's some genetics in dogs, in their proclivities, their thoughts, their behaviors, like personalities. But one thing I've always seen, no matter what kind of dog it is and how old they are, how young they are, a lot of it has to do with their training. That means a lot of it has to do with the responsibility of the owner. You can have a purebred imported from wherever, but if your training sucks, your discipline sucks, and your time with your pet is very minimal, and you leave it on a chain all day in the backyard, and you give it very little attention, it starts doing like any other child or human would do too. It starts doing negative behaviors to gain attention. And then it can have proclivities to become aggressive because it wants that attention. So I'd say the same thing. You can have a nuclear family. You can have one income. You can have a stay-at-home mom. You can have all of this stuff. But what's more important is, what are you teaching your children at home? What are the trainings? What are the instructions, the infrastructure? That's actually more important than just having a certain format, because you can have the best of genes, the best of children, the best of everything. But if your instructions and training and diligence is very minimal, you'll see the same thing like with animals. They'll have these negative responses because the attention is just not there. And I'm not saying that's a telltale all. Like, of course, there's always exceptions to rules, but that's just natural. Like, we yearn for attention. We yearn for a lot of compatibility. And if your base fundamentals is really poor, it doesn't matter what kind of format you have.
Well, some people have opted out of public school and they decided to homeschool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're eating lunch, and it is potatoes, plantains, rice, carrots, sweet potatoes, and it's got oatmeal.
Well, that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Hey,
I love homeschooled children.
I mean, is this an Amish family?
Look at this. They know how to squeeze their own lemons.
Yeah, that's good. What are they going to do when the robot shows up? What is this?
They're cooking.
Mm.
Look at that.
Yeah, wow, look at that ingenuity. They're just going right at it.
How old do you think this kid's got to be?
Like 5?
I was thinking
6?
like 17, 18.
Oh, are you Megan Kelly?
Oh, look at this. We got Noah Cloud's dad over here. I don't even know if Noah Cloud's here. But if you can hear me, Noah Cloud, this is for you. I mean, I have nothing against homeschooling, honestly. I mean, I think it's great.
No, I mean, it's fine. Like, this is America.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you
It
want.
doesn't get any more American than this.
Hey, so howdy.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm just
That
saying.
guy actually founded America.
Yeah, that guy's straight from the colonies of Virginia. But people can. That's the total opposite spectrum. Like, those guys are totally ostracized from anything. Well, that's not true. That's on TikTok. That means they do have access to internet, social media, and not only that.
Well, at least the dad does.
If they have
children
have a successful TikTok, that means they actually know how to make this work. And those guys, yeah. See, that's the illusion. I've seen this.
Seen what?
Where people, they do this fake Fugazi stuff. Like, they set up this whole scheme, like, before they make a TikTok. All right, we're going to go out here into this wilderness area, and we're going to put up this homestead, and we know that people like watching homestead videos.
Does this look fake?
Well, if let's say this was ran by,
I guess that could be. That does.
Let's say this was run by a corporation.
Maybe that's AI.
And these are professional actors, and they're doing this because they know people like watching this content. This would make good money.
Yeah.
And let's say they had like hundreds of these accounts.
I wonder how they got that chicken to act so good.
Well, no, I'm saying this is all real, but the people here are paid actors.
Yeah, they're paying those kids a lot of money. And that guy.
And that guy's working 10 speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. These guys could very well be real, but I also believe.
You think that's real?
Yeah, that looks pretty real to me.
Little tiny.
Could be AI.
Tiny eggs. All right. Watch it up.
Oh no, this kid's not going to do it. Really not.
In the house, man. Where's up, David? All right. Here.
No, that's not the Two Foods guy, David Zern. That's one food.
See, this is the kind of stuff we get flagged for.
Yeah, we gotta go back before we get flagged.
I mean,
They're gonna be like, you guys show too much real life. You're gonna encourage people to do something real.
Ugh.
You're actually gonna take them away from social media dumps. Yeah, shut it off.
It almost grossed me out.
Well, again,
here's another one. Look, just over there. Like, that's real life.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's weird. I didn't grow up on a farm, but I mean, maybe that's.
Well, it's not strange. Like, I grew up in a rural area, and that's not that strange. But then again, I wasn't. I was born in South Korea. It's some rural area. Coming to America, the first thing I saw, my dad, when he got his his
tonsils removed.
No, he got restationed because he was in the military. He came here, and I was about 5. The first thing I saw, I didn't know what it was. And I still say it because it's such a solidified memory in my head, because it's totally opposite of Korea, where I was, in rural places. He went to this building. He gave him a piece of plastic, and he got food. That's game-changing. That, to my paradigm, is game-changing because – and when I was a kid, people are going out to the rice paddies. People are working every day for food. There is no store or commodity or anything. The local store was literally like, 15, 20 miles away. So when he gives this piece of plastic and we got some food, I was like, that was like a miracle to me. So
I imagine you probably felt a lot like these kids.
I've eaten a red meat.
Look at that. Yeah, I mean, it was something like that.
It almost looks like that's Chucky. But, maybe that's mean. These kids are having a lot of fun.
Well, this is all they know. It's like, to you, this is normality.
Yeah.
This is that old Heidegger statement, the Dasein. It's like you're thrown in the world. To you, this is normality. You couldn't know the constructs outside of your reality.
I wonder what these kids are going to think, because all they know is what their dad's teaching them right now, which is very primitive lifestyle living. Maybe they'll stay in this lifestyle and then have kids of their own, with I don't know who, because it looks like there's only one family out there, but these kids are going to grow up, have families of their own, and maybe their kids are going to go into the real world. And it's going to feel like some kind of Jetsons thing. They're going to be like, what is this? Like, they're not going to even know that cars exist.
It's like the Truman Show.
Yeah, there's, I was just scrolling through some of these videos, and there's nothing but mules and horses pulling things. Like, everything is real primitive. They're tools. They're building sheds out of, like, logs. And I was looking to see if they had, like, Home Depot-styled 2x4s to see if maybe there's a Home Depot nearby. But no, you could tell these 2x4s were probably cut by hand. Everything is real. So they're going to go into the real world, and they're going to see, wow, there's a saw? So I've been getting blisters and breaking bones when I could have just used a saw.
That's why I say what I say about
like
that.
An electric saw.
That's what I'm saying. When I tell you that little story about me coming to America, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, but this is America.
Yeah, I know when I came here. But
this
I'm
is
telling
America.
you, I know. But
I think maybe this is Germany, but those are American letters. Yeah. So that's America. That's English.
Yeah, I know, but they're like in a sub break of the Matrix, right? And that's what I'd say. It's like to me, it was like that. It was like I don't have to go to the rice paddies every day anymore. It's like, wow. So I've been doing that for what? And yeah, but still, it's that new epiphany.
Again, yeah, so basically just like how there's Kunsong in Korea and in Seoul, Korea. And they're like 4 hours away from each other. So you have this very primitive village, like way back in the Stone Age living style village. And then just 4 hours away, you have this massive New York City, Seoul, Korea.
It's almost like the Hunger Games. Like, there's this rich area. You've heard the rumors. You heard these things, but you can't go there. But you've heard it. It's almost like a fable or a myth or something, and it sounds really cool, but you can't really go there. It's like, there's no real way. It's too expensive, and it's for the rich people. And then one day you get to go to some place. Like, I come to America, and I'm like, wow, this is like it's everywhere.
Yeah, they make movies like this, like George of the Jungle. Like some primitive man goes into the real world.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not real, of course, because they still, they're just acting. So there's still familiarity even in the actor. But to actually be, I don't even know, you may have a heart attack if you were genuinely grew up in this mentality right here that we're looking at this little girl with a knife and beats
now,
coming out of her
I would
mouth.
say it'd probably be really weird if I came here and I saw robots. Now, because these kids, they're going to see robots. Like, I just saw people getting food, and it was a pretty advanced from where I came from. But it was nothing like robots.
That's the other thing, too. You said you were 8, right?
I was 5.
Okay, 5.
It was ground shaking.
Yeah. Imagine being a grown adult.
Yeah.
You're 30, and then you go into the real world. And that's what and eventually, that, like we talked about earlier towards the beginning of this show, eventually, if you don't ever leave, eventually you're just going to see this army of robots coming into your village. It's going to look like the Clone Wars straight off of Star Wars.
Because see, it's normal. It's just more advanced, people. If I saw robots, they're not people. They're just walking around. Yeah, that's I don't even know if I could process that. It's like, I don't even know where I'm at. I don't even know what this is. This isn't just food. This is like, we're in robots. But yeah, that's where these kids are going to wake up one day with robots. That's the big difference. I don't even know how your brain processes that if you never even had the construct of robots.
Yeah. Well, that's why I fear for homeschooled children. No, I'm just messing. That's not. Yeah. Obviously, that's not what homeschool looks like, guys. For all you guys out there, that's not what homeschooling really looks like.
Well, it doesn't have to. There are probably some that maybe it is. It doesn't have to look like that. Clearly, there's a lot of integrative, highly
those
functional
kids, they are only going to know what daddy knows.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever daddy teaches as science, whatever he teaches as truth, that is what those kids are going to know.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting thought as well.
Yeah, it's the lack of integration.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, that's all the time we have for this week. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. It's been a little laid back, but next week is the beginning. Next week, like this Saturday, if you guys watch this week's episode 186, it's called New Year's Nostalgia. We were just hanging out with the fellas, and we're having a good time remembering the great things of 2025. And I think you guys will enjoy it. But it's more, there's nothing serious. It's chill, laid back, hang out with the fellas. But next week, we continue marching on. And I'm going to start the first thing. What can be programmed, and what are they programming right now? And I'm going to continue one thing every week about that. And I'm also going to upload some of the old episodes. I know David Zern was saying his favorite one was the frequency episode, so I'll upload that this week as a contribution to that request. But I'm going to upload those every week as well.
Yeah, I was going to when are you going to upload those older
I started
episodes?
like last week, but I'm going to do – so every week I'm going to put out two. I'm going to put out our – pre-recorded of the week, and I'm going to put out one of the older ones, and I'm going to just do that every week.
What if you did one halfway through the week and then the other one on the typical day?
Like 3 a week?
No, like two a week, but one on Saturday, like we usually do, and then in between.
I don't know about that contribution.
In between you got to believe me.
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
So in between that, so you have
well, that's what I'm going to do. It's like on a Tuesday, I'm going to upload an older video.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and then on Thursday, on Saturday, I'm going to upload our regular broadcast. Yeah. Right. I'm going to do 2 a week.
That's what I was trying to say.
Anyway, so you guys can watch those older ones as well, because there's a lot of great content in that as well. But the journey continues next week, and the live is going to amplify next week. So if you guys are ready, we're ready. If you're ready, the network is being amplified.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. Anyways, that's all the time we have this week. We appreciate all you guys tuning in. And as always, this fine gentleman right here is colleague. And I'm host. And we appreciate and Doug and Patty Mayonnaise. And we'll see you guys next Thursday. Until then, this is the Matrix Network. This broadcast has been terminated.